Part 70. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 691. The confession is over. Now, can you help me design the outer packaging? Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, the two of us alone are not enough to make 3 cobblers. I will help you find someone else. Who, that Sichuan girl? Lu Ligan asked. Yes, she is also participating. She can help with advice on details. There is another person who is really from Zhejiangmei. Then it's not 3, it's 4. Then let's have a table together. Zhang Chen said and detained Old Tang. After a while, Old Tang called back. Zhang Chen asked him, where is he? In the studio, with the children, we are working overtime with blood and tears. Printed jersey. Haha, is that kind of work worth working overtime? You have finished it early. You are taking orders from Mr. Zhao's Higang and are working hard to deliver the goods to Shanghai. Zhang Chen understood and asked, have you had dinner? I'm eating, Master Kong's braised beef noodles. It's fragrant and delicious. Stop eating, come out to eat, I'll see you if I have something to do. Big dinner? Okay, where to go? What do you want to eat? Meat, as long as I have meat. Wangjiangmen, past the Chengzhan railway station, there is a Northwest restaurant. How about grilled lamb chops and ice beer? Okay, a big bowl of wine and a big piece of meat, that's what I like. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan went out. When they arrived at the design center, they didn't see He Hongmei, but they saw Ji Ling. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, you don't have to go back to deliver food to your dad. My father is here too, Ji Ling said. Zhang Chen understood. They had finished dinner in 2 minutes and had to train for a while. Ji Donghai had come to the factory. Where is your senior sister? I'm going to the cutting room on the 1st floor. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan arrived on the 1st floor and saw He Hongmei and Zhao's Hailong in the tailoring room, using scissors to cut the clothes hand-sewn by retired workers. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei said, let's go and have dinner together. I've eaten, He Hongmei said, but immediately asked, what to eat? Rack of lamb. Then I can have another meal, He Hongmei called and said to Zhao's Hailong, have you worked hard here? Zhao's Hailong raised the scissors and waved them. The 3 of them walked outside and saw Li Fen and the others training on the court. Ji Donghai was standing on the edge, holding his hands on his chest, scolding them sternly. He Hongmei stuck out his tongue, oh my god, Master Ji so fierce. A strict master produces a good disciple, you know. You think everyone is like your master, no wonder you don't make progress, Lu Ligan said. He Hongmei glared at him and cursed, you've only been here a few days, how can you see that I'm not making progress? I can see it with the back of my head. Look at how careless you are. You are not a good apprentice, Lu Ligan said. Oh, I'm so angry. Oh, master, I'm going to be so angry with this guy, He Hongmei sighed, and Zhang Chen laughed. When they passed by the court, Zhang Chen said hello to Ji Donghai from a distance, and Ji Donghai also said hello back. When they were about to reach the Xiaoli car, Lu Ligan took a few steps and ran to the driver's seat. The door of the car was blocked, and Lu Lipol shouted to He Hongmei. Give me the key and I'll open it. He Hongmei stopped and asked, are you still saying that I won't make progress? Lu Ligan quickly said, no more, no more, you are the most progressive. He Hongmei smiled proudly and threw the key to him. Zhang Chen looked at the 2 of them laughing, and Zhang Chen said, you two, if you bicker every day, sooner or later your feelings will break out. He Hongmei snorted, would I like him? Don't even think about it. Lu Ligan quickly raised his hand and said, thank you, heroine, for not killing me. The 3 of them arrived at Wangjiangmen, parked the car, and walked to the door of the Northwest restaurant. They saw that old Tang was already sitting at a table at the door. Seeing that they had arrived, they quickly raised their hands and waved, and Zhang Chen walked over. Said, "How come you are faster than us?" Old Tang pointed to a motorcycle not far away, and said to Zhang Chen, "You didn't see that old Tang has already changed the gun. By the way, the lamb chops have been ordered, and 2 big guys came, weighing 11 pounds and 60 pounds. 2. You're crazy, how can you eat so much?" He Hungmei scolded. "Don't worry, old Tang, can eat 6 pounds by myself," old Tang said. Zhang Chen introduced Lu Ligan to old Tang, especially emphasizing from Zhejiang and the United States. They both laughed, and old Tang quickly said, "It's not worth mentioning, let alone that shabby school." Zhang Chen said with a smile, "You don't know, I am also from Zhejiang Meijiang University." "No way, Mr. Zhang, which department are you in?" old Tang shouted. "It has nothing to do with it," Zhang Chen said. He then told them the origin of his status as Zhejiang Mei, and He Hungmei and old Tang laughed. "Let me tell you something interesting. Now in Haikan, when pimps introduce their ding-dong, they always say that she is from Zhejiang and the United States," Lu Ligan said. "What is ding-dong?" He Hungmei asked. Lu Ligan told her what ding-dong was. Old Tang laughed and exclaimed, "Oh, my poor alma mater, but this is very cool. I think it can be written into the school history." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan also laughed. Without asking, Zhang Chen probably guessed why ding-dong in Haikan is now called Jimiai. It must be related to Jianqiang Jiajia. This, Lu Ligan, it's not convenient to say either. He Hungmei was on the side, looking at the two of them suspiciously. She was wondering why Zhang Chen pretended to be from Zhejiang, America, and now Ding Dong from Haikan would also call himself from Zhejiang, America. What was the relationship between this? She thought about it. After thinking about it for a while, she pointed at Zhang Chen and asked, You, do you often go to those places, so they all know Zhejiang Mei?" "Yes," old Tang also looked at Zhang Chen, nodding his head upwards. "Does that mean yes or no?" Zhang Chen scolded, "What are you talking nonsense about? No, I can testify to this. Your master has never been to that place once. When you opened on Yan'an Road last time, the second-rate guy who came here was a hobbyist. What annoyed him the most was that he took your master away. I tried many times and never succeeded," Lu Ligan said. He Hungmei pointed to Zhang Chen's hand, then immediately pointed to Lu Ligan, and asked, "That's you, isn't it? You go there often, and you call yourself from Zhejiang Mei?" Lu Ligan didn't say yes or no, there was no humming way to say it. He never claimed to be from Zhejiang and the United States, but it was true that he went there often. "I didn't expect you to be so disgusting," He Hungmei cursed. Lu Ligan laughed, "In this case, do you want to stop killing me?" He Hungmei blushed and said, No, old Tang, I'll change seats with you. I don't want to look at this guy face to face. I'm afraid I'll vomit." Old Tang said slowly, "Then you sit next to him." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed, and He Hungmei's face turned red. Thinking about it, it was true that there were 4 people at a square table. If they didn't sit across from Lu Ligan, they would sit next to him. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Although you have a big yin devil like me opposite you, you still have a pure master beside you who can prevent the epidemic." Old Tang squirted out a mouthful of wine and it hit the ground. If he hadn't turned his head so fast, it would have hit the table. After the joking, Zhang Chen started talking about something, and everyone immediately became serious again. Zhang Chen's idea was that there was a big box with 10 small boxes inside, and each box contained a kind of pastry. The design of the packaging box must reflect 3 concepts: one is elegance, the other is high-end atmosphere, and the third is personality. Without personality, there is no way for people to notice it at a glance among so many pastries in the store. Yeah, is because these pastries are very earthy food. The more earthy the food, the more you can't use earthen packaging. He has seen the things from Yiming Food Factory, and they still use the same method a few years ago. It would definitely not work if the straw paper was packaged in a cube, as elegance can complement the soil inside. The reason for the high-end atmosphere is that most of the customers who buy are tourists who come to Hangzhou. They buy and take them back. Many of them are to be given away. You have to let them give away. The more high-end and atmospheric, the more people will buy. If you have more, you won't care about the price so much. Lu Ligan nodded. He said yes, you said everything I wanted to say, and I was speechless. Old Tang immediately thought of it. He said that the paper box inside could be made of natural craft cardboard. Instead of using photos on it, use prints. The prints were of 10 scenes of the West Lake. The prints were printed on craft cardboard, and the effect was particularly good. This is good, Zhang Chen also imagined the effect and agreed, in this way, the 3 things I mentioned earlier will be taken care of. You can combine the 10 scenes of the West Lake into 2 paintings, He Hongmei said. There are 10 boxes in total. When you open them, there are 5 on the top and 5 on the bottom. The 5 on the top make up 1 painting and 5 scenes. Take it out, a box is a separate scene, put together, it is a painting, and below it is another painting. Both Zhang Chen and Old Tang's eyes lit up. They thought He Hongmei's idea was great and immediately agreed. When they talked about this, Lu Ligan was like an idiot. No matter what they said, he couldn't get the picture out of his mind. He could only keep eating mutton chops and drinking wine. The small box inside was determined, and then we discussed the big box outside. After the 3 people discussed it, they felt that it would be better to use natural craft cardboard. At that time, the boxes in the mall were all colorful, and I especially liked to use the beautiful one. Or photos of celebrities, there are almost no boxes made of craft paper. The more so, it will look different from others and have a higher grade. The slogan 10 Treasures of the West Lake, Rats Can't Forget is very good and must be indispensable. In the background, use the light brown line drawing of the 3 pools reflecting the moon and the broken bridge of Baoka Pagoda. The main body should use a mouse, a cute mouse. A revolting rat. How about using Mickey Mouse? Lu Ligan asked. Vulgar, He Hongmei cursed. Zhang Chen and Old Tang also shook their heads, and Lu Ligan immediately shut up. Lao Tang said, in fact, among our Chinese folk, there are many pictures of mice, which are cuter than Mickey Mouse. Zhang Chen also thinks so. He said that the mice in Qi Baixi's paintings are very cute, including Luoshu in the opera 15 Guan. His costume is also funny and interesting. Don't be too figurative. After all, this is food packaging. The mouse is too figurative, and it will still make people sick to their stomachs, don't you think? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen and Old Tang nodded. How about a paper-cut mouse? He Hongmei asked. Okay. The bright red paper-cut pattern is printed on the natural craft cardboard. It shouldn't be too beautiful, Old Tang shouted. Don't use paper cutting entirely, as that would be too rigid. Use a paper cutting style mouse pattern, where the mouse is eating Yiming pastries, Zhang Chen said. The 3 people looked at each other and laughed. They felt that a perfect package had come out. Okay, leave the rest of the work to me, Old Tang said. Come on, you can eat the lamb chops with ease. Boss, bring us another portion. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 692. The next morning, Old Tang sent over jerseys and shorts, and also brought a box sample of the West Lake 10 treasures he had made. Zhang Chen was surprised when he saw it, so fast. Aren't you waiting for that pole in a hurry? I worked on it all night and helped him get it out. Let's see how it goes, old Tang said. Zhang Chen picked up the box, looked up and down, then opened the big box outside and looked at the small boxes inside. After reading it, he smiled and said, I can only use 3 words to describe it, too good. Zhang Chen called and asked He Hongmei to come up. He Hongmei liked it very much when she saw it. She said, when I go back to Chongqing, I must bring a lot with me. Every time I went back in the past, I didn't know what to bring. Hangzhou said there are a lot of good things. But there are very few things that can really be given away and taken away from others, that is, tea leaves and fans, but we girls don't like to give those things as gifts, so we have this. Zhang Chen's heart moved as he listened. In addition to this place in his Sanbeo factory, plus the Yan'an Road store, there are more than 600 employees. This year's Mid-Autumn Festival is September 30th, and it is the National Day. People are given a tube of mooncakes and a box of this as an employee benefit. No one will eat the mooncakes anyway, so it's just fun. Their Shanghai shopping mall counter opened, with more than 20 sales staff, and the following specialty stores. When shipping, they also sent 2 boxes to each store. Everyone was happy. In addition, the clothing department of every shopping mall in Shanghai also asked Xyli to bring 20 boxes to each store. In this way, she would need 1,000 boxes to support Lu Ligan, just like when Qian Fang and the others bought a lot of clothes. Support yourself as well. Lao Tang not only brought a sample of the box, but also brought the drawing, so that Lu Ligan could directly let the printing factory make the plate and print it. Zhao Jingjing walked in and told them that they were so happy when they got the clothes. They all said that they had never worn such beautiful clothes. Thank you, old Tang, Zhang Chen said. By the way, I will also thank you on behalf of the Pole. When he puts this on the market, I will let him treat you to meat. Old Tang smiled and said, if you like it, it already gives me a sense of accomplishment. If you have meat to eat, that would be even better. Okay, I'll go back first. I have to work after I get some sleep. Zhao Zhigang's place, I'm about to be forced by him crazy. Zhang Chen told him, you really need to stock up on more goods. Think about it, on October 1st, 6 stores in Shanghai will be opened at the same time. Plus there are so many franchise stores. He is afraid that you won't be able to cope with the demand. I don't care about other places. Here in Chongqing, old Tang, you can't miss anything, He Hongmei said. Old Tang said, okay, if not, I'll give him to you. Go, I don't want your people. If you dare to miss one thing, old Tang, let me tell you, I will follow you all day long, He Hongmei shouted. Why are you following me and begging me to take you in? Old Tang asked. What a beautiful idea, He Hongmei said. I will fight for meat with you, whether it is in your bowl or in the pot. I will snatch the meat when I see it, so that you will not be able to eat a piece of meat for a month. Old Tang laughed, this is too cruel, I have to run away quickly. Zhang Chen immediately called Lu Ligan and told him that the sample of the box had arrived. When Lu Ligan heard this, he came over on his bicycle. When he saw the box, he smiled from ear to ear. He said, I heard you yesterday, Jijigagu, I don't know what you are talking about, but it turned out to be like this, haha, it's just what I want, this is what I want, and the only people who know me well are you 2 men and 1 woman. He stood up and was about to leave. Zhang Chen asked, why are you in such a hurry? You want to grab the 11th, and I want to grab the 11th. I haven't told Fan Kishan and the others about this yet. I have to convince them first. He Hongmei asked, do you want to give me the car and give you a ride? Before Lu Ligan said anything, Zhang Chen said yes. If you rush to the National Day, you only have 12 days. You haven't even come out of the box yet. In this way, after you talk to Fan Kishan and others, go to Chu Tianlin and others immediately. Go there and ask them to introduce you to a printing shop that can be reached. You might even want to go to the printing shop right away. Okay, thank you. Lu Ligan grabbed He Hung Mei's car key, raised it towards her, took the box sample and the drawing and went out. Lu Ligan took the box and arrived at Fan Kishun's office. Fan Kishun looked at the box and asked Lu Ligan, what was it used for, to contain rat poison? You're such a farmer, how could you tell it was a fake rat poison? Fan Jiangguo cursed. Isn't it here? There is a painting of a mouse with the words rats can't forget. Rats can't forget. They will go away and come back to eat. As a result, their hair is curled up. If it's not rat poison, what is it? Fan Kishun asked. Lu Ligan couldn't laugh or cry when he heard it. He knew that this matter was not as simple as he thought. He found someone to design a new packaging box, and they would accept it immediately. It was a packaging that looked very fashionable. If their ideas were so easy to change, then this factory would not be reduced to such a miserable state of being unable to make soy sauce, ham, and finally pastries. It's easy to change a country, but it's hard to change one's temperament. This temperament actually means that one's ideas are more appropriate. What else is more difficult than changing a person's ideas? But if you can't even do this, then you might as well stop your activities as soon as possible and go back to where you came from, let alone implement your huge plan. He hasn't even thrown out the first handful of bait yet. Although Fan Jiangguo himself couldn't tell what was so good about this box, Lu Ligan said that this box was intended to contain Yiming pastries, so he felt that he had the responsibility to convince his father to accept this idea. Who makes the boss more important than your dad? Your dad doesn't pay your salary. The boss is the one who pays you. If the boss says yes, then of course it is good. Didn't the boss hire him just to make Fan Kishun submit through himself? Although he didn't know what Fan Kishun would do if he submitted, but Lu Ligan promised not to do bad things, so that would be fine. When Fan Jiangguo saw that Lu Ligan was silent, he told Fan Kishun, this is a packaging box we specially ask someone to help design. It is used to package things in the factory. Fan Kishun was startled and shouted, use this to wrap our pastries? Are you kidding me? How much can be packed in such small boxes? You don't care how many things it can hold, just use this. You can just use this to install it. No, you are the director of this factory, or I am the director. As the father and son spoke, they started to quarrel. When people in the office nearby heard this, they all came over. The secretary quickly persuaded the two people to stop, and looked at Lu Ligan with some dissatisfaction, meaning that you are just a piece of wood on the side, and you don't know how to persuade. It's not that Lu Ligan doesn't know how to persuade, but he wants to see how stubborn Fan Kishun is. He already knows this matter in his heart. Fan Kishun has to do it even if he doesn't do it, because Zhang Chen told him that their company wants to order 1,000 boxes of Westlake's 10 treasures, plus 1,000 tubes of mooncakes. This one order alone is the sales of this dilapidated factory for 2 months. Can he not do it? The accountant and cashier came in and looked at the box. The cashier said that it looked good, but it was not practical. The accountant asked, how much does it cost to make this set of boxes? Fan Jiangguo didn't know. He looked at Lu Ligan, and Lu Ligan said that the specific price had not been negotiated with the printing factory, but it was probably more than 3 yuan. How much? Asked the accountant. You didn't hear clearly, it's more than 3 yuan, Fan Jiangguo shouted. How many kilograms of pastries can it hold? Fan Jiangguo didn't know anymore, so he still looked at Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan said that each box should not contain more than 2.5, so a large box like this would weigh about 2.5 kilograms. No, it's not cost-effective. The accountant shook his head like a rattle. We can't sell 2 pieces of tissue paper for less than a penny. How can we bear the cost of more than 3 yuan? When Fan Kishun heard this, he looked at Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo proudly, meaning, look, you don't understand, there must be someone who understands. It's just wrapped in straw paper, so we can't sell it. I told you earlier that the packaging of our factory's products needs to be changed, but a bunch of old antiques just refused to change, the person from the sales department shouted from the side. Are you crazy, Saxy? Fan Kishun scolded. When the salesman said that he wanted to change the packaging, he was probably telling him, and scolding the old antique was probably just scolding him. Yes, I also think this box is very beautiful. If you take this box to other stores, you can straighten your waist, another salesperson also shouted. Immediately, the two of them fought against Fan Kishun. The benefits of this factory are not good and wages are hardly guaranteed. One good thing is that all living beings are equal. Even the director of the factory, no one takes him seriously, just like the Wu opera troupe back then, no one would ever take the troupe seriously. Elder Yang took it seriously. Lu Ligan watched, secretly amused. When they were done arguing, he felt he could play. He said, I bought 2 big bags of our factory's products yesterday and invited my friends to eat them. Everyone said they were delicious. Some people said they didn't know about such delicious food. Yes, how could he not know? Speaking of which, the pastries of our Yiming food factory are also an old brand. The reason why this old brand can become an old brand is that it tastes good, otherwise can't survive today. Then since it tastes good, is an old brand, and the accountant said before, and the price is not expensive, then why is the sales not good? Why can't this old brand survive? Is it because everyone doesn't eat pastries anymore? That's definitely not the case. Everyone must still eat pastries, and more so than before. Otherwise, there wouldn't be more and more varieties of pastries on the market. Then there's something wrong with us. Where? I thought about it, and the reason is that there are more and more. Think about it, 5 or 10 years ago, what kind of pastries would there be in that shop? There would be only one kind of cake, and there would be no more than 2 kinds of biscuits. There are round and square biscuits for adults, and animal biscuits for children. The other pastries are similar. A man ran into the store and took banknotes and food stamps to buy pastries. There were only pastries from our family in this store, and he couldn't choose if he wanted to. Besides, what should he choose? If he eats some, his life will be improved. You still choose? At that time, to be honest, let alone the fact that our pastries were wrapped in straw paper, even if our pastries were wrapped in newspapers, he would still buy them. Are you right? The secretary smiled and said, we actually wrapped them in newspapers. You have forgotten that the shortbread we made one year had no wrapping paper and was wrapped in old newspapers from the office. Everyone laughed when they thought about the past. This smile improved the atmosphere in the office. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 693. Lu Ligan continued what the secretary said. That's right. Now, don't you dare to use newspaper bags anymore? Now you can go to the shopping mall to have a look. I went to the Federation of Trade Unions and Hijabai yesterday to see it. There are dozens of products in the food counter, hundreds of varieties. The pastries, our pastries, were very pitiful. They were placed in the corner. I tried hard to find them, but I couldn't find them. I asked the salesperson and she pointed them out to me, and I saw them. Then I was thinking, if I were an out-of-town tourist with so many pastries, how would I know which pastries are delicious? It's impossible for me to take them apart and eat them all, so the one I bought must be. Is it right to buy the one that looks the prettiest and attracts me the most? With so many products, I can't take them apart and eat them. How do I know? It depends on the packaging of the product. The packaging of this product is like the clothes a person wears. No matter how beautiful you are, if you dress well she is shabby, and her beauty is compromised. On the contrary, the one next to you is not as beautiful as you, but she is dressed beautifully, so is she still attractive. That's right, as the old saying goes, people rely on clothes and gold, the cashier shouted. Yes, this product is the same as people. People rely on clothing, and products also rely on packaging. The aroma of wine also depends on the alley. If the packaging is not good and customers don't like it, it will be useless no matter how good the taste is. Now, it is not an era of economic benefits, Lou Ligon said. It's nonsense, but we still have to talk about benefits, Fan Kishun said. Okay, I'm sorry, Director Fan. What I said was inaccurate. To be precise, nowadays, few people eat pastries to satisfy their hunger. If he wants to satisfy his hunger, he might as well buy steamed buns. The main purpose of these pastries is to satisfy his craving. The mouth and eyes are connected together. You have this good-looking thing, which will satisfy half of his craving. It will satisfy his craving for eyes. If he eats it again, wow, the craving for his mouth will also be satisfied. As Lou Ligon spoke, Fan Kishun was amused. He said with a smile, it's a fancy thing, a gimmick. What Mr. Liu said makes sense, said the person from the supply and marketing department. Yes, Mr. Liu, have you ever been in supply and marketing? Another asked. Lou Ligon smiled and said, I have never been in supply and marketing, but I have been to many factories and seen a lot. I have seen many factories like ours. The products are very good and the sales are smooth, but they just can't be sold. But as soon as the packaging is changed and the advertisement is launched, the sales volume of this product goes up. If you look at the CCTV advertisement, do you know what the calculation is based on? Several people shook their heads. People calculate it in seconds. 15 seconds is tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Do you know how much it costs per year for the 15 seconds before the news broadcast? Tens of millions. 10 million, someone shouted. Yes, it's so expensive. Why would anyone want to invest? Only with input can there be output. If you want people to buy your stuff, you must first let them know about your stuff and be interested in it. Yes, that makes sense, shouted the person from the supply and marketing department. Come on, let's take a look. For example, the cakes are the same. One is in this box, and the other is wrapped in straw paper. If you were asked to choose one to give as a gift, honestly, which one would you choose? The cashier said, then it must be in this box. After the things in this box are finished, I can also put other things in the box, as well as these 10 scenes of the West Lake. Even if they are placed on the table, they will look good in a row like this. Then the straw paper is not that kind of straw paper, it's too hard to wipe your butt. The other people, whether they spoke or not, also chose the box. Fan Kishun was a little moved. He looked at the secretary and said, how about we give it a try? Before the secretary said anything, the accountant said, that's what you say, and it sounds reasonable, but once the cost is included, how much will we sell a box? 28, Lou Ligon said. 28. Everyone was startled, and the secretary said, our cakes cost more than 3 yuan or more than 4 yuan per caddy. Your 2.5 caddies cost 28 yuan. Does anyone want to buy it? While the secretary was talking, he looked at the two people in the supply and marketing department, meaning, are you sure of selling? Those two people thought Lou Ligon's words were right, but when they heard the price, they felt unsure. Fan Kishun sneered, there are so many baby boxes, but they are so expensive. How can we recover the cost? The accountant did the math in his mind and said yes, no, is the price of 28 right? The discount in the mall is 23%, which is 6 yuan and 44 cents, so the remaining amount is 21.56 cents, 2.5 kilograms of pastries. No matter what you do, our cost will not exceed 6 yuan. Yuan, you said this set of boxes costs about 3 yuan more than 4 yuan, so we calculated it as 4 yuan. The cost is 10 yuan. You mean, for a box of this stuff, our gross profit will be more than 11 yuan? A gross profit of more than 100%, the accountant looked at Lu Ligan and asked. Yes, Lu Ligan said, you are talking about actual costs, but you did not include hidden costs. Hidden costs? What is that? I haven't heard of it. Does this pastry have hidden costs? Yes, for example, if someone thinks of using this box and how to design the box, these are all hidden costs. The gross profit margin you mentioned is the profit brought by the hidden costs, not the actual costs. What we have wrapped in straw paper now is real and comes from actual costs. There are many components of this hidden cost. For example, aren't we an old brand? This old brand means hidden costs. If our Yiming Foods becomes famous again, no matter how we sell the same thing, we will be a few yuan more expensive than others. This is the hidden cost. The obvious profit, I say this, is to remind you that this enterprise depends not only on obvious and visible things, but also on many invisible things. Lu Ligan's words made these people confused. This was the effect he wanted. He saw that it was almost done, and then the showdown began. Actually, let me tell you honestly, this box was provided by one of our customers. He specifically wanted us to use this kind of box to store pastries. He has already ordered 1,000 boxes, Lu Ligan said. What's the price for 1,000 boxes? Fan Kishan asked quickly. I didn't calculate it carefully. I told them at that time that our ex-factory price was 22 yuan. The customer accepted it and ordered another 600 tubes of our mooncakes, Lu Ligan said. Anyone present could tell by casual calculation that this was more than 20,000 yuan, which was as much as they had sold in the past 2 months. I was just thinking, since customers have already ordered, why don't we order more boxes and try selling this product in shopping malls? I judge that there will be sales, Lu Ligan explained. When Lu Ligan said this, everyone thought it was reasonable and reasonable. In this case, let's give it a try. The accountant thought of a question and asked, Mr. Lu, how many of these boxes are you going to make? 10,000. That means that just to make this box, we will have to pay more than 30,000 to 40,000 yuan in advance, the accountant asked. Hearing this number, everyone was shocked. What the hell? If we go out now, if we can't sell it and the boxes are piled up in the warehouse, isn't it enough that all our work this year has been in vain? Fan Kishan looked at his son, and he suddenly had a doubt in his heart. He felt that Mr. Lu was trying to trick him. He was actually a box seller. Lu Ligan looked at them and knew what they were thinking. Lu Ligan said, for printing this box, the printing factory needs to make a plate, and the mold needs to be opened for molding. If it is less than 10,000 yuan, the printing factory will probably not be willing to make it. As for how much each one costs, the person in charge of purchasing here will follow me, and he will negotiate the price with the printing factory. Fan Kishan sneered in his heart, it's useless, no matter how much the deal is, you will get a kickback when you turn around and ask the printing house, this trick. Lu Ligan continued, I know everyone is still worried about sales. They are afraid that so many boxes will come in and end up being backlogged in the warehouse and become inventory, right? No one answered whether he was right, but everyone thought so. Lu Ligan smiled and said, in this way, I am very confident in this matter. I think it will be 100% successful. I can guarantee it. No matter how you guarantee it, I will not play tricks with you. In this way, this time I will pay for the 10,000 boxes first, and in the end, you will give me whatever you use, and any unused inventory will be mine. When Lu Ligan said this, even Fan Jianguo was surprised. Damn, how could he help like this? This was not help, he was a nanny. He even washed your diapers. What he didn't know was, Lou Ligon wanted them to have this nanny-like sense of dependence on him. Even the secretary felt embarrassed. He said, "Mr. Lou, this seems inappropriate. This, our affairs, in the end, have become your affairs. We get the benefits, and the losses are all yours. This. When the secretary said this, Fan Kishan also felt that he had really judged a gentleman with a villain's heart just now, and he nodded. Lou Ligon smiled and said to them, "It's nothing. I know that your factory is indeed in difficulty and is also scared. It seems that whatever you do, you just spend money and don't see any benefits, right?" Yes, that's it." Fan Kishan continued to nod. "Don't worry. In your opinion, this matter is very risky, but in my opinion, the risk is zero, so there is nothing suitable or inappropriate. I am just taking tens of thousands of yuan as a temporary advance. I believe that the money will be back in less than a month," Lou Ligon said. Lou Ligon's words shocked them again. In less than a month, all 10,000 boxes were sold out. What is the concept? That is to say, they have sales of more than 200,000 yuan and a gross profit of more than 100,000 yuan a month. Oh my God, they can't do it in a year now. The accountant was anxious. Since there was such a good deed, he was of course afraid that Lou Ligon would regret it. He said, "Mr. Lou is really helping people to the end. Well, let's not go against Mr. Liu's kindness. What did he say? That's how we'll do it." Okay, everyone agreed. Lou Ligon and Fan Kishan said, "Okay, Director Fan, send someone with me to contact the printing factory. Also, go sign the contract for these 1,000 boxes and collect the deposit." No, just go ahead." He pointed at Fan Jiangguo and said to Lou Ligon, "You can represent our factory." What he was thinking in his mind was that if he sent these bird people from the supply and marketing department, they would come back and ask for the sales bonus. It is none of your business to sell these 1,000 boxes. If you have the ability, you can sell it yourself. Come back and take a look at 1,000 boxes, then our life will be easier." The secretary and Fan Kishan thought about it together. He said, "Yes, Mr. Lou, just do it and you can completely represent our factory. If we don't even believe you, who will we believe?" Lou Ligon sighed softly in his heart. He felt that his first bait had been successfully thrown out. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 694. Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon said, "We have a lot of battles to fight next. You have to sell the 10 treasures of the West Lake, and I have to fight against Shanghai and have a basketball game." "When is the basketball game?" Lou Ligon asked. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "It was originally number 25, but now this game, before the game is played, the reputation has gone out, getting louder and louder. It was originally just for fun, but now the players on both sides are becoming more and more serious. We also recruited people from the Xiakan District Federation of Trade Unions and the Sports Committee, and after everyone discussed it, we changed it to start at 8 p.m. on September 30th, and it's called the Celebrating Mid-Autumn Festival and Welcoming the National Day Staff Basketball Friendly Game." "Okay, this knife is a good harvest," Lou Ligon said. "It seems that these agency cotters are not stupid. Their noses are more sensitive than dogs." "Who says it's not? Now, they have become the organizers and we have become the co-organizers. It would be unfair to say that we are a participating party. If we are the organizers, it will be unfair." Lou Ligon laughed. "Then will they bleed?" "What the hell, they just turned Old Tang into an official sponsor." "No, Old Tang's 1,000 yuan was handed over to the Federation of Trade Unions, and Old Tang got the opportunity to go on stage and present awards together. Old Tang was filled with regret, saying, 'Damn, it's not fun at all like this. Lu Ligan's stomach hurt from laughing. He Hung Mei walked in and asked, "Why are you laughing? You are so happy." Zhang Chen told her that they were talking about the basketball game. He Hung Mei asked Lu Ligan, "When will your box be ready?" "The day after tomorrow." "When will it be available in the store?" "As soon as the box arrives, it will be installed, and it will be sold as soon as it is installed." "What's the point of waiting? Let's try selling it for a few days before the National Day." "Do you want me to take someone to rob it?" "What's the meaning? It looks like it's very popular." "No, let's rely on our strength." Lu Lizan looked at He Hung Mei and said, "I didn't expect you to be as big as a brat and have a lot of clever ideas." "Are you praising me or hurting me?" "Of course it's a compliment," Lu Ligan said. "By the way, your team is still on standby at any time. It might come in handy." When the boxes arrived, Fan Kishan asked Lu Ligan how many boxes to produce first. 1,000 boxes. So much? How many boxes did you originally want to produce, Director Fan? Fan Kishan said, "I originally wanted to produce 50 boxes first and send them to shopping malls to try. 50 boxes, 10 major shopping malls, plus a few travel goods stores, an average of 3 boxes per store. Once they get it, I don't know if they are willing to give you a sample." Fan Kishan thought for a moment and said, "That's true. Listen to me, produce 1,000, send 50 boxes to each location, and put the rest in the factory for later use, waiting for them to restock." Fan Kishan laughed. 50 boxes still need to be replenished. What are you thinking? Thinking about good things, don't you? Think about it. I think about it too. I always dream about something good happening in the factory, Fan Kishan said, but I can't think of it. You have to have confidence in yourself, Director Fan. You are the director, and your confidence directly affects the morale of the people below. What morale is there in this factory? Don't give up, I will burn high incense. Don't worry, I will help you do it, Lu Ligan said firmly. Fan Kishan smiled and said, "In that case, I will burn incense and not worship the god of wealth, but I will worship you, Mr. Lu. Okay, just use the 10 treasures of the West Lake to offer me as an offering." Lu Ligan also smiled. All joking aside, Fan Kishan was still worried. He said, "With 1,000 boxes, my workers in the morning won't be able to let them go back. I'll ask them to continue working in the afternoon." "Okay, keep doing it." Fan Kishan sighed, "Oh, I'm afraid that the work will be useless and become inventory after it is done." Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said to Fan Kishan, "Well, Director Fan, aren't there 1,000 boxes of them being prepared? I told my friend that their 1,000 boxes will be picked up on the 29th. They will be picked up today on the 23rd. Do you not have to worry about inventory these days? If you get any extra every day, just ask them to take it away on the 29th. Okay, this way I don't have to worry at all. I'll let them work overtime in the afternoon," Fan Kishan said. "Also, Director Fan, let the people from the supply and marketing department deliver the finished products to the shopping malls immediately without stopping for a moment. It is best to deliver them to all shopping malls this evening. Also, let them work hard. The shopping malls will get off work at 9 o'clock in the evening. Count the daily sales volume of each shopping mall." Fan Kishan said yes, but what he was thinking in his mind was, what statistics are there? Most of them are not zero, but seeing Lu Ligan being so cautious and enthusiastic, he still continued to explain. Lu Ligan felt uneasy, so he went to the small shop outside the factory and bought a pair of hung taschen. He took it apart, poured it into his backpack, walked back to the factory, and went directly to the supply and marketing department to give it to the people in the supply and marketing department. 1 pack of cigarettes per person, and told them that today is a critical day. I will wait here tonight, please work hard, and be sure to call me back to tell me about the sales at each point. Holding the cigarette, everyone said, "Okay, No problem, Mr. Lu. Lu Ligan walked back to the conference room and asked Fan Jiangguo to find a large piece of paper. How old is it? Fan Jiangguo asked. The size of a whole sheet of paper. Fan Jiangguo walked out, came back after a while, and told Lu Ligan that he couldn't even find a piece of paper in this broken factory. Then you go buy a few and bring them back. By the way, they probably don't have long rulers either. You buy another long ruler. You don't need to buy a long ruler, Fan Jiangguo said. Why? There are plenty of them in the workshop. Lu Ligan understood. He was talking about the long hardwood strips used for work in the workshop. Those can indeed be used as long rulers. Lu Ligan thought for a while and said to Fan Jiangguo, it's better to buy one. Don't mess around with things in the workshop, it's unhygienic. Fan Jiangguo came back after buying paper and a ruler. Lu Ligan spread the paper on the table and drew a table. The dates from today to September 30th were written in the horizontal column on the left side of his head. In that column, the names of all shopping malls and travel supplies stores are written. The empty space in the middle is the sales volume of each store that needs to be filled in every day. Lu Ligan asked Fan Jiangguo to post the form on the wall. When it was time to get off work, Fan Qishun came over and asked them to get off work. Fan Jiangguo told him that I would not go back for dinner at night, and we would have to work overtime at night. Why do you work overtime? Fan Qishun asked curiously. Fan Jiangguo pointed to the form on the wall and said to him seriously, you didn't see, we have to command the battle. Fan Qishun looked at them, then looked at the form, shook his head, and cursed in his heart, why did it look like a child playing house? When he walked out, he thought to himself, this son followed Mr. Lu, and now he has become a god. God is nagging. Lu Ligan remembered it and asked Fan Jiangguo, are all the people in this factory off work? Yes. Go and get the warehouse key. What? Which store is restocking at night? How can I get it out? Fan Jiangguo said oh and ran out immediately. They had already called the phone number in the office next door. The phone rang and it was Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan if he wanted to eat spicy fish. I am in the forward position now, and the position is filled with smoke. How can I withdraw? Zhang Chen laughed, cursed, and hung up the phone. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo went out to the small shop outside and each had a bowl of Piener Chuan. They returned to the conference room and sat blankly. At about 7 o'clock, the phone on the table suddenly rang. Standing up, Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo both jumped up. Lu Ligan grabbed the phone, and a salesman called anxiously on the phone, is there anyone else in the factory? What the hell, am I not a human being? Lu Ligan cursed. The other party heard Lu Ligan's voice and shouted excitedly, no, no, Mr. Lu, I'm asking if there is anyone in the warehouse. This tourist supplies store by the West Lake needs to replenish the goods. They are almost sold out. Please replenish the goods 30 boxes. Fan Jiangguo shouted from the side, I have the key to the warehouse. Okay, I'll come to the factory right away. Fan Jiangguo and Lu Ligan looked at each other, and both of them laughed. Fan Jiangguo shouted, save time, you don't have to come, I'll send it over right away. As soon as Lu Ligan hung up the phone, Fan Jiangguo slapped him on the shoulder and ran out. Just as Fan Jiangguo went out, Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei came in with Zhang Xiangbei in their arms. Zhang Chen was still holding a bag of cold beer was in He Hongmei's hand, along with the packed dishes. They had just finished eating spicy fish and were bringing food to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan clapped his hands and laughed, great, the cannonballs just fell here, and I need to celebrate. What the hell? He Hongmei asked. A store has already replenished the goods, Lu Ligan shouted. These three are all businessmen, they all know what replenishing means, and they all laughed. Hurry up, I told you how to open the door today. It turns out that my son is here. Give me a hug. Lu Ligan did not go to get the beer, but first came to Xiao Zhao to hold Zhang Xiangbei. He Hongmei put the dishes she had brought on the table. Xiao Zhao took Zhang Xiangbei back from Lu Ligan's hand. Zhang Chen sat down and was about to have a drink with Lu Ligan when a man came in from outside the door. It was Fan Kishan. It turned out that he couldn't sit still after eating at home, so he decided to come over and have a look. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen quickly invited him to drink together. Fan Kishan said that he had already eaten, and Zhang Chen said that we had also eaten and wanted to drink more. Lu Ligan looked at Fan Kishan and said, "If I tell you something, you will definitely drink some." "What's up?" "At the spot by the West Lake, the 50 boxes are almost sold out. I have replenished 30 boxes and Fan Jiangguo has already sent them over." Fan Kishan laughed when he heard it and said, "Then I really want to drink some." The phone on the table rang again. Lu Ligan picked it up, and another salesman shouted, "Mr. Lu, Hangcheng building has been sold out, and I was just asked to replenish 80 boxes immediately, but, I am now can't leave." Lu Ligan agreed that when Fan Jiangguo comes back, I will ask him to deliver it immediately. He Hongmei asked, "What is your delivery process like?" Lu Ligan didn't know either. He looked at Fan Kishan. Fan Kishan said, "It's simple. Open a 3-part delivery order in the warehouse, take 2 copies, send the goods to the food counter, give them 1 copy, and let them have 1 copy. Just bring it back after signing." "I understand, then I'll drive there," he Hongmei said. "Give me the things." Everyone quickly got up, walked to the warehouse together, and put the 60 boxes of goods on the back seat of Xiaoli. Xiao Zhao and he Hongmei said, "There are so many. When you arrive, no one can take them in. I will go with you." She turned around and wanted to hand Zhang Xiangbei to Zhang Chen, but Lu Ligan snatched her away. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 695. They waited until 9:30, and the sales of each store were reported. Lu Ligan filled in the numbers one by one in the blanks. The final total number was that on this day, they sold 721 boxes. In other words, they made 2,000 sales of these Westlake 10 treasures alone. Fan Kishan was shocked. Lu Ligan sighed, obviously feeling that the sales had not yet reached his expectations. "How much do you want?" Fan Kishan asked. "I originally thought they should all be sold out." Lu Ligan said that he copied all the numbers on the wall into a notebook. When he copied them into the notebook, he rearranged all the stores and arranged them according to sales from least to most. He saw that the sales were the least. The supply and marketing building in the store only sold 11 boxes, and he couldn't help but frown. "Okay," Fan Kishan said, "do you know how much we sold in a day?" Lu Ligan said domineeringly, "The previous numbers have no meaning to me." Fan Kishan was stunned for a moment, but the smile on his face immediately returned, thinking, "It means nothing to you, but it means a lot to me. This is the first time in so many years that I feel so comfortable about things in the factory." He also had to admire him from the bottom of his heart. Mr. Lu still had a lot of skills. He hoped that he would continue to be dissatisfied every day. If you are dissatisfied and push forward desperately, I would be too satisfied. Looking at Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen, Fan Kishan felt sad that he was approaching old age. Compared with these young people, he felt that he was really old, unable to keep up, and fell behind. These young people were really menacing. On the way home by bicycle, Fan Kishan seriously told his son Fan Jiangguo, "Study hard with Mr. Lu. You will learn half of others' skills, and I will feel relieved about you and me." For the first time, Fan Jiangguo felt that his father's words were not so harsh, and he said The next day, the news that they sold 721 boxes of Westlake 10 treasures last night caused a stir in Yiming Food Factory. For the first time in so many years, this factory seemed to have been given a shot in the arm and had a vigorous life. I was so angry that the salesmen in the supply and marketing department almost became celebrities. They were surrounded by people asking questions wherever they went. As soon as they arrived at the factory in the morning, several supply and sales staff rushed to the warehouse to grab goods. Each person was responsible for a different store, so there was only so much left. If others took it away, he would have none, so Fan Kishun had to step in to coordinate. Although it was a robbery, everyone's faces were happy. They said that it was the first time they walked into a shopping mall, and they felt like they could finally straighten their waists. The happiest workers are those who work the morning shift. Of course they are happy to know that they can continue working this afternoon. This way their wages will be increased by half a day. Fan Kishun asked Lu Ligan, "How much will be produced today?" 1,005. Lu Ligan said that although Fan Kishun thinks this number is a bit scary, but think about it, isn't there 1,000 boxes of bottoms? Even if the sales today are the same as yesterday, then he is not afraid of the rest. Okay, then 1,005. Fan Kishun made up his mind. If you can produce more, produce more. Don't stick to 1,005, Lu Ligan said. Why? Tomorrow is Sunday. Fan Kishun suddenly realized, yes, tomorrow is Sunday. It is a day off this week. Whether it is in the shopping mall or by the West Lake, it is the day with the most people. He really needs to prepare more goods. There were not many people in major shopping malls in the morning. At about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, there were more people in the shopping malls. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo said, "Let's go." "Where to go?" Fan Jiangguo asked. Lu Ligan took out his notebook and told Fan Jiangguo, "Let's go to all the stores, starting with the supply and marketing building with the least sales yesterday, to see what the reason was." Fan Jiangguo said yes. They rode their bikes and first arrived at the supply and marketing building on Jifang Road. The food counters were on the first floor. The food counters in the supply and marketing building were similar to those in other shopping malls. They all had a circle of glass counters in a zigzag shape. Inside the glass counters were 3 layers of glass. There are shelves of packed food. Inside the zigzag-shaped counter is a table, which is in the shape of a pagoda, with food packed in cartons and tin plates stacked upright one after another. The items placed on the counter are not necessarily best-selling products, because the counter will be stood on. The people in front of the counter cover the area, and the best-selling products are all placed on the table inside. The placement of samples on this stand is also very particular. Generally, the best-selling products are placed on the uppermost layer, because the higher up, the higher the position, and the more people can see it. On the bottom floor, you have to get close to the counter to see it. On the top floor, you can see the products from a long distance away. On the top floor, even if the counter is crowded with people, you can still see it over your head. The product that can be placed in this position must be the best-selling product, or the one that has the best relationship with the counter manager. It occupies the top of the pagoda and is quite eye-catching. The food counter is always one of the most crowded places in the mall. When Lu Ligan and the others arrived, there were many people in front of the counter. Lu Ligan stretched his head to take a look. On the counter inside, he did not see any of the 10 treasures of the West Lake. They walked around the glass counter and couldn't find it inside the counter. Could it be that it was sold out? It's impossible. 50 boxes were delivered yesterday, and only 11 boxes were sold here. Although they haven't replenished the goods here today, the number of people in the mall has just begun to increase. It's impossible to say that 39 boxes have been sold out. Fan Jiangguo pulled Lu Ligan's sleeves and pursed his lips. Lu Ligan looked in the direction he pointed. Only then did he see through the cracks in the crowd the bottom layer of the glass counter in the corner. Here is their 10 treasures of the West Lake. In this position, as long as there is someone standing in front of the counter, the human legs will block it, and other people will not be able to see it at all. No wonder only 11 boxes were sold. put here, it is a miracle that 11 boxes can be sold. Lu Ligan took Fan Jiangguo out of there and arrived at the bicycle at the door. Lu Ligan said to him, "Go to that counter and buy 4 boxes of our products." "What for? If you want it, just go back and get it." "Why are you buying it here?" Fan Jiangguo asked in confusion. "Don't worry about it. If you go buy it, come back here. I'll wait for you here." Lu Ligan gave Fan Jiangguo 200 yuan. Fan Jiangguo went in and came back after a while holding 4 boxes of the 10 treasures of the West Lake. Lu Ligan told him, "Wait for me here." Lu Ligan walked in, and when he almost reached the food counter, he ran over, deliberately out of breath. There were many people standing in front of the counter, and Lu Ligan shouted, "Give way, give way." Those people didn't know what was going on, so they all got out of the way. Lu Ligan asked the salesperson anxiously, "Comrade, do you still have the 10 treasures of the West Lake here?" Lu Ligan screamed very loudly and urgently, and everyone in front of the counter looked at him, wondering what these West Lake 10 treasures were. The salesperson bent down and took out a box from under the glass counter to him. At that time, someone shouted, "What is this? Why is this box so beautiful?" Lu Ligan asked, "How many more of these are there?" The salesperson looked at it and said, 32 boxes. "So 3 boxes were sold today," Lu Ligan shouted, quickly, "Give them all to me. I went to several shopping malls and they were all sold out." After hearing what Lu Ligan said, the people around them all looked at the 10 treasures of the West Lake on the counter. Everyone said that this thing was beautiful and strange, but they didn't know what was inside. There was a man who took the box in his hand and shouted, "I want this box." Lu Ligan looked at him and said quickly, "No, no, brother, I already want it." "What's wrong? You didn't pay for the things on the counter. Why can't I have them?" Big brother, I really can't do it. Our company bought it as a gift, and it's not enough," Lu Ligan begged. "Yes, this is a great thing to give away," someone said. As soon as the salesperson put a stack of boxes on the counter, many hands came over and took them away. Lu Ligan shouted, don't grab it, I want them all." There was no one paying attention to him, and everyone refused to put it down. Lu Ligan looked at the salesperson for help and shouted, "I already don't have enough, and they want to take it away. What should I do?" The salesperson shook his head and said, "I can't help it. How much is there? Don't bring it up again. If you do, it will be robbed again." Okay, let me help you install it," the salesperson said. The person who grabbed it immediately went to the counter to pay. The person who hadn't grabbed it stopped and shouted, I want it too. What happened? When the counter manager heard the commotion, he immediately turned around from the other side of the counter and asked the salesperson. The salesperson said they all wanted this and it was out of stock. Is it so easy to sell? The counter manager looked at the West Lake 10 treasures and said to the people outside the counter, don't be anxious, I'll call right away to replenish the goods and it will be delivered in 20 minutes. You can either go shopping elsewhere first and buy again when you come back. An older sister pulled Lu Ligan's sleeve and said to him, Comrade, I'm from out of town. I have to catch the train and I'm too late. Look, you don't have enough anyway. Can you come back later to buy more? Give me 5 boxes here first. Lu Ligan shook his head and said, No. Comrade, please help me. I won't lie to you. If you don't believe me, I'll show you the ticket. Lu Ligan hesitated for a moment, then asked the counter manager if there would be more later. Really, definitely. Lu Ligan sighed, okay, let's give her 5 boxes first. Thank you, the eldest sister said quickly. As soon as Lu Ligan said this, others also said, Young man, you want a lot since you are coming later, give it to us first. Yes, Yes, young man, just learn from L forward. Lu Ligan said to the salesperson, okay, then you give it to them first, and I will buy it later. Those people immediately gathered around the salesperson. The counter manager looked at them and shook her head. She called another salesperson and asked her, is this thing selling well today? The man nodded and told her, yes, I just sold 4 boxes. The head of the counter looked at the counter inside, pointed to the second row of seats coming down from the top, and told the salesperson to leave a seat here. When the next goods arrive, the samples will be shipped here. The salesperson said yes, and the counter manager walked away to make a phone call to replenish the goods. Lu Ligan left there with a secret smile in his heart. When Lu Lipol came outside, Fan Jiangguo was squatting next to his bicycle and smoking. When he saw him coming out, he stood up. Lu Ligan walked over and said to him, please send these 4 boxes of things back to the factory, and tell Director Fan to hurry up with production today, or work overtime if it doesn't work. Then, you can go to other stores to have a look. Our products are now available. Place it somewhere on the counter. By the way, bring a notebook and draw it. It's all done. Go back to the factory and wait for me. Fan Jiangguo said yes. Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thank you Suyu Enian for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 696. Lu Ligan broke up with Fan Jiangguo. He rode his bicycle and went to Zhang Chen's place. Zhang Chen saw him coming in and asked strangely, what, you are out of position now? Hurry up and call me and ask the Sichuan girl to come up, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen dialed the phone, and after a while, He Hongmei came up. Lu Ligan asked her, is your team still there? Yeah, that's what the design center is all about. How many people are there in total? Add me 6. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, let me use it. Zhang Chen nodded. Lu Ligan took out his notebook and copied down all the shopping malls except the supply and marketing building with pen and paper. He handed it to He Hongmei. He Hongmei reached out to take it. Lu Ligan retracted it again and filled in the supply and marketing building. Now his 10 treasures of the West Lake are still in the second row of the stage inside. He wants to squeeze them to the top of the tower before the National Day. Lu Ligan and He Hongmei said, let's go and scan this place. Do you know what to do? I know, He Hongmei smiled. Let them all speak their native dialect. I know, they are the 10 treasures of the West Lake and are popular all over the world. Yes, you are really smart. You can tell with just 1 point. He Hongmei looked at Lu Ligan and nodded, you don't seem so annoying when you ask for help. You have a very sweet mouth. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed, and Lu Ligan said, I'll wait for you in the factory. When the car is full, I'll take it to the factory. Okay, He Hongmei said and walked out. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, I can't be here anymore. I want to go back and sit in battle. We'll talk about it tonight. Go away, Zhang Chen cursed. Lu Ligan returned to Yiming Food Factory. When they saw him coming back, Fan Qishun and the secretary ran over and told Lu Ligan with a smile that replenishment was being done everywhere. The workshop had no time to finish it. It occurred to me that as a food factory like ours, there would be times when production could not keep up with sales. Lu Ligan smiled, knowing in his heart that He Hongmei and the others had an effect. Fan Jiangguo came back. Like Lu Ligan, he made a book and drew in each store where their West Lake 10 treasures were placed in the food counter. Although the drawing was a mess, at least you can still see the pole clearly. As expected by Lu Ligan, Their products are placed in the middle of every store. This is probably because their products are beautifully packaged and the counter manager naturally upgrades them when he sees them. Only the supply and marketing building is still in the original location of Yiming Foods, no wonder sales are the worst. The placement of this product seems to be very important. There were noisy sounds outside the door. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo hurried out and saw two salesmen standing at Fan Qishun's door and scolding them because they were driven crazy by the mall and always had to replenish goods. Can't make it up. They said, if we don't send it, we won't have to send it, the salesman said angrily. Fan Qishun looked helpless. He said, we need goods here and there, but we can't produce them in the workshop. What should I do? You are the director of the factory, and you still ask us what to do. Aren't you responsible for production? Another supply and salesman cursed. It's true that I'm the director of the factory, but things have to be made in boxes. I can't tell you to just send them bags of flour and sugar, Fan Qishun argued. Lu Ligan hurried over. He told the salesman, don't be anxious. I've sent someone to adjust the goods. They'll be there soon. If the mall says if you don't deliver them, there's no need to deliver them. That's just to scare you. Think about it, when our things were hard to sell, they didn't even ask us to remove them. Now that they're easy to sell, how can people be willing to part with them? Yes, what Mr. Lu said makes sense, the secretary said on the side, but he turned to Lu Ligan, you transfer goods, where do you go to transfer goods? Just as he was talking, he saw He Hungmei's Xiaoli car driving in from outside the gate. Lu Ligan called Fan Jiangguo, go and ask the warehouse manager and finance officer to come over. Count the number on the car and send it out immediately. He told the salesman again, why are you still hanging around? The goods have arrived, why don't you send them over quickly? The salesman was also confused as to where the goods came from, but no matter what, he quickly unloaded the goods from the Xiaoli car. There was a large plastic basket tied to the back of each of their bicycles. They got it from the Xiaoli car. The goods were counted by the warehouse manager, and after issuing the outbound order, they were placed in their plastic baskets. They quickly got on their cars and delivered the goods to others. Lu Ligan told the cashier and warehouse manager that for the incoming goods, you should give them to MSE at 281 boxes. I will replenish the price difference of 6 yuan and 44 cents per box to you later. Fan Qishun and the secretary understood that it turned out that Lu Ligan had asked people to buy the replenishment everywhere. He was so happy for nothing. The sold goods returned to the factory in the blink of an eye. What was going on? Ah! Lu Ligan smiled and said, not all, just part of it. Oh, this, isn't that fraud? The secretary complained on the side. Fan Jiangguo finally understood and cursed, otherwise, if people put all our things in that corner, who can see it? Tell me, if we didn't do this, who of our Yiming food factory would have such a big reputation? As soon as the goods are delivered, they will give you the best position. Do you have one? Fan Jiangguo asked the secretary, who smiled awkwardly. You have. He then asked the head of the supply and marketing section, who said that I didn't have it, and that they were giving me the greatest face by not allowing the cabinets to be removed. I agree with Mr. Lu to do this. Otherwise, we don't know when it will be our turn. I guess you understand. Fan Jiangguo smiled, and then asked Fan Qishun, or do you have it? Fan Qishun glared at him. He turned around and said to the cashier, Mr. Lu doesn't need to pay for the difference. Lu Ligan quickly said, no, I can't do the accounting with this money, so I'll do it. Do business fees, Fan Qishun told the cashier, and the cashier agreed. The secretary and the head of the supply and marketing section also told Lu Ligan that this is good, and this is the arrangement. We can't let you contribute money and help others, the secretary said to Lu Ligan. She's a beautiful woman, and she's paying for gas, but she's probably willing to do it, Fan Jiangguo shouted, And everyone laughed. Hee Hungmei sent the third scan. It was almost 5 o'clock. She and Lu Ligan said that the first scan had been completed. Do they need a second scan? If necessary, I will go to the factory to replace him. Lu Ligan quickly said, it should be okay, thank you. Hee Hungmei left, but the calls for replenishment continued. Fan Kishun asked Lu Ligan anxiously, are we buying this by ourselves? Lu Ligan smiled and said, no, it should be this wave of sales that has been brought up. He knew that this was the effect of Hee Hungmei and the others shopping. The location of his goods in each store should have changed. He asked Fan Jiangguo to go to 2 nearby shopping malls. When Fan Jiangguo came back, he happily told them that they had changed their positions. There was still not much inventory in the warehouse. Fan Kishun told the accountant and cashier that you should go out and buy some steamed buns for the workers to eat. After eating, continue working and work overtime at night. After the off-duty time, no one left, whether it was Fan Kishun or the secretary, including the accountant and cashier. They all crowded into Lu Ligan's conference room to eat steamed buns. The calls for restocking are still coming in one after another. Today is Saturday, and there are still many people in the mall on Saturday night, just like Sunday. The supply and salesmen were coming in and out of the factory gate. They hadn't gotten off work yet and continued to deliver goods to the mall. Everyone's face in the conference room was beaming with joy. They sat down for a while and felt they couldn't sit still, so they ran to the workshop to have a look. Fan Kishun and the secretary felt that they were old when they saw the lively scene in the workshop. Tears are almost coming. Every worker in the workshop is very tired after working all day, but they don't feel tired either. Even if they are tired, everyone's face is relaxed and happy. Fan Kishun and the secretary walked around the workshop, keeping in mind the situation in the conference room, and couldn't help but walk back again. The whole night, they walked back and forth like this. If they didn't start walking, a fire in their hearts would ignite them. Of all the people, only Lu Ligan seemed to be able to endure it. Fan Kishun and the secretary also found it strange, how could this young man be so calm? They saw Lu Li sitting loosely on a chair with his feet on the conference table. His eyes were half open, as if he was asleep, and as if everything here had nothing to do with him. He was in another place. A world. After 9 o'clock, Fan Kishun, the secretary, the supply and marketing section chief, the accountant, and the cashier all gathered in the conference room. No one spoke, they all stared at the phone on the table. Fan Jiangguo put his hand next to the phone. On the phone, as long as the phone dares to ring, he will grab it and see where you run away. The first call came in. It was from a travel goods store by the West Lake. The sales volume was 172 boxes. Everyone in the conference room seemed to be relieved. As calls came in one after another, the atmosphere in the conference room gradually became more and more lively. When the last number came in and the cashier filled in the last number on the wall, the accountant's total came out immediately. The total was 3,531 boxes, excluding the 685 boxes that Hee Hungmei and the others bought themselves. The actual sales were 2,846 boxes. The conference room burst into cheers. They all looked at Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan said, the boxes are running out. We need to replenish them soon. Bulletin, 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 let's make 20,000 tomorrow, no, 30,000, Mr. Lu, you don't need to advance this time, we will do it ourselves, Fan Kishun shouted. That's right, the secretary agreed. Lu Ligan said, let's count how much inventory is left in each store, including the factory. The numbers came out immediately. There were still 363 boxes. Everyone looked at each other in shock. Tomorrow is Sunday. Not only is tomorrow Sunday, but also it will be the Mid-Autumn Festival and the National Day. Fan Kishun and Fan Jiangguo said, "Go and call the workshop director over right away." The workshop director followed Fan Jiangguo in. Fan Kishun told him that if the notice went down, there would be no rest tomorrow and everyone would work overtime. They would also have to go to work an hour earlier at 7 o'clock, so that another batch could be produced before the mall opened at 9 o'clock. The workshop director said yes. Fan Kishun clapped his hands and told everyone that everyone should work hard tonight and go separately to inform all the workers who were resting at home during the shift and told them that they would no longer have shifts and that they would all come to work tomorrow. Everyone agreed and prepared to ride off work to inform. Lu Ligan stopped the supply and marketing section chief and said to him, "Your supply and marketing department will adjust the staff tomorrow and arrange for 1 or 2 people to come out and go to train stations, airports, and long-distance bus stations. Contact them and spread our 10 treasures of Westlake to these places immediately." "But we have nothing to do with these places," the supply and marketing section chief said with some embarrassment. "What kind of relationship do we need? The stores in these places are all contracted. Find the boss, show him our stuff, and tell him the sales volume of each shopping mall. Will he not be happy? Also, we are giving it to him on a consignment basis. We are not a dealer. We go to settle payments with him once a week. There is only one requirement, and that is to display our products in a conspicuous position. By the way, if the boss hesitates, just tell him that you can try selling it for 3 days. If the sales are not satisfactory within 3 days, we will withdraw it ourselves." "Okay, okay, okay, okay," the supply and marketing section chief went out with a smile. Fan Kishun came over, patted Lu Ligan on the shoulder, and said to him, "How about it, let's go, I'll treat you to a drink today." "Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip." "Thank you Cheng Shanming, Bronze, 1890-798-3117 for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Have a great evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 697. Business at Yiming Food Factory picked up, and Lu Ligan breathed a sigh of relief. Today is the 28th. The day when Zhang Chen and others are going to Shanghai to deliver containers and clothing, and Lu Ligan is going to Shanghai with them. The props and goods of 6 shopping malls need to be loaded at the same time, and all the stores must be decorated tonight. The most critical problem is that the large trucks cannot enter Shanghai City before 10 o'clock, so they actually don't have much time. All their installation work must be completed at least before the mall opens at 9 tomorrow. Zhang Chen called over 3 large trucks, 2 of them were loaded with props, and one of them contained boxes of goods packed in cardboard boxes, and the other half contained custom-made mannequins and boxes with their clothes and trouser racks with the half-acre field logo. 6 shopping malls were installed at the same time, and it was not enough for Lao Wan and all the maintenance team members to go there. Zhao Zhigang also brought people who cut beds with him, and also recruited people from Kuning Garment Factory. Everyone in the design center had to go. Their task was to go to each shopping mall, together with Zili, Wei Venfang, and the newly recruited salesman. While Lao Wan and the others were installing props, they were ironing clothes and waiting for Lao Wan. After they finished the installation, they had to sample the clothes and place and post the posters, decorations, and soft furnishings in the counter. All of this must be completed tonight. The time is very tight. It can be said that one link is linked to another. It cannot be advanced, let alone delayed. Not only in urban Shanghai, large trucks can only enter at 10 o'clock, but also in shopping malls. They are only allowed in after closing time at 9 o'clock in the evening, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, everyone except the salesperson must also leave. In addition to the 3 large trucks, there was also Wuzea Zivko, which was loaded with passengers and cargo. Zhang Chen called Wang Haniao over to help. His truck was also loaded with passengers and cargo. There is also He Hungmei Xiaoli, who sat in the seats Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, Ji Yiling, and Zheng Huiyang. A convoy of 6 vehicles was prepared at Sanbao. Lao Wan sat in the truck with props and escorted the vehicle. Zhang Chen gave him his eldest brother. Zhao Zhigang sat in the last truck loaded with models and half of the cargo to escort the truck. Zhang Chen gave him Xiao Zhao's eldest brother. Xiao Zhao did not go. He Hongmei would always be with Zhang Chen. In this way, the 3 of them, plus Wang Haniao has a total of 4 mobile phones, and they can communicate with each other when they arrive in Shanghai. Starting in June, mobile phones in Shanghai and Zhejiang have been connected to the internet, and their mobile phones are now available in Shanghai. But there was still no internet on the way there. Chu Tianlin helped them borrow 3 walkie-talkies from the security department of Hangcheng building. Zhang Chen left one in his car, Lao Wan took one, and Zhao Zhigang took one. You can contact us on the way. Chu Tianlin told them that the effective range of the walkie-talkie is 3 kilometers. In places with mountains, the effective range is even shorter. You should not be too far away. Zhang Chen told Lao Wan and Zhao Zhigang that they should fully charge the backup battery and contact them at any time on the road without keeping distance. Zhao Zhigang and Lao Wan both agreed. Lu Ligan watched and laughed. He said that it really felt like being on the battlefield. Zhang Chen also laughed. He thought that the commanders before the war probably made such careful arrangements and plans. Everything was ready. They had dinner at Sanbao and prepared to leave at 6 o'clock, so that they could arrive in downtown Shanghai around 9 o'clock. At worst, they would wait outside until they could enter at 10 o'clock before entering the city. Wu Zaiwai said that he had to leave early. Going to Shanghai was very annoying. When entering the city, all cars would be stopped and there would be long queues. What? Zhang Chen asked. Wash the car, drive all the cars into a big yard, pay the money, and someone will use a water gun to hit your car a few times before it is allowed to enter the city. Otherwise, it is said that the car is dirty and not allowed to enter the city. In fact, it's just money fraud, and the most annoying thing is that the queue is so long that it takes an hour to get your turn, Wu Zaiwai said. Zhang Chen scolded, then why didn't you tell me earlier? If I had known this, we could have set off an hour earlier. Wu Zaiwai chuckled and said that he had just thought of it. He Hongmei said, that's not right. Last time we went from Nanjing to Shanghai, we didn't seem to be stopped for car washing. Zhang Chen also thought about it and asked Wu Zaiwai if he had made a mistake. How is it possible? I work in a hydraulic machinery factory. Every time I drive to Shanghai, my car will be washed. Who doesn't know that the drivers of our team get a big headache when they hear that they are going to Shanghai, Wu Zaiwai shouted. Wang Haniao said from the side, I also encountered him when Lao Chengguang went to Shanghai, that's right. Zhang Chen thought about it, maybe there are many buses from Hangzhou to Shanghai, so the control is particularly strict. Let's go, Zhang Chen shouted. Everyone got in the car, and a convoy set off in a mighty manner. Lu Ligan took the walkie-talkie from Zhang Chen's hand and sat in the passenger seat of the Zili. After 10 minutes or so, he shouted into the walkie-talkie seriously, this is number 1, this is number 1, number 2, number 3, please answer if you hear it. Lao Wan and Zhao Zhigang shouted on the intercom, I heard it, I heard it. Before 8 o'clock, it started to get dark outside. They passed Jiaxing and arrived at the border of Jiashan. Going further, they left the province and reached Songjiang, Shanghai. A strange scream from Lao Wan came over the intercom. They all responded. I didn't understand what he was saying, and there was no sound immediately. Lu Ligan quickly shouted, this is number 1, this is number 1, number 2, and number 3. If you hear me, please answer. The intercom was quiet and there was no response at all. Lu Ligan called again, but there was still no response. Zhang Chen quickly told He Hongmei that it was too fast. Slow down, maybe the distance was too far. He Hongmei cried out, "This journey is too painful. I am in more pain than a snail. How about you drive?" She asked Lu Ligan in the passenger seat. Lu Ligan raised the radio in his hand and told her, "Didn't you see me commanding the large army?" He Hongmei slowed down the car, followed by Wu Ziyawai and Wang Hainiao. Lu Ligan kept shouting into the intercom, but there was still no response from the intercom. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei told them to pull over and wait for them. 3 cars pulled over. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, Wang Hainiao and Wu Ziyawai all got out of the car. Wang Hainiao asked them, "What happened?" Zhang Chen said he didn't know, the car behind him couldn't contact him, so he would wait for them. A few people stood on the roadside smoking, and Lu Ligan called from the walkie-talkie from time to time, but there was no reply. Wang Hainiao suddenly thought of something and shouted, "Will they be stopped? Didn't we pass a checkpoint ahead?" "Impossible, we have nothing to inspect, and we didn't transport any contraband," Zhang Chen said. Just as he was talking, the intercom in Lu Ligan's hand rang, and Zhao Zhigang shouted inside, "Mr. Zhang, Mr. Zhang, those 2 cars have been stopped, those 2 cars have been stopped." Zhang Chen and others were shocked. Lu Ligan quickly asked who had stopped him. Zhao Zhigang was sitting in the cab of the truck and saw 3 cars parked on the roadside. He quickly asked the driver to pull over. The driver's car had not yet completely stopped. Zhao Zhigang jumped out of the car and ran towards Zhang Chen and the others. Zhang Chen saw Zhao Zhigang coming and asked quickly, "What's going on? Who stopped them?" At the timber inspection station, it was said that the 2 vehicles were transporting wood and required a transportation permit. "Our vehicle was also inspected and only allowed to go after seeing that there was nothing in it," Zhao Zhigang said. "Nonsense, those are props we have to transport to the mall for installation." "What kind of wood is that?" Zhang Chen cursed. "Yes, we told them the same thing, but they didn't listen." "We must," Zhao Zhigang said. "They are messing around. Those who check the wood are all messing around. I heard from someone in Shangmazi that someone loaded a truck of mops and was stopped in Nangxuan. They said that the handle of the mop was made of wood and it was also required license. These people are ripping off people," Wang Hainiao shouted. "You guys wait here while we go over and take a look," Zhang Chen and Wang Hainiao said. They got in the car, asked He Hongmei to turn around, and drove back for more than 10 kilometers. Sure enough, they saw more than 10 trucks being stopped on the roadside. A red and white crossbar for timber inspection fell down, and they were stopped on the roadside. The 2 cars at the front belonged to them. He Hongmei pulled over the car, and Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan ran over quickly. Lao Wan was arguing with several inspectors. When he saw Zhang Chen coming, he quickly said, "Our leader is here." Zhang Chen walked over and asked what was going on. Those people looked at him sideways and said nothing. Lao Wan and Zhang Chen said, "They said we were loading wood and they wanted a transportation permit." Zhang Chen quickly told them that what we have is not wood, but props for hanging clothes, and they are going to be installed in a shopping mall in Shanghai. The leader of the other party snorted, "It's not wood, this is iron. Look, it's all burned like this. Can iron be burned? You can burn it for me. It's true that it's made of wood, but our wood is all bought from the timber market, not chopped from the mountains." "What kind of license do we need for this?" Zhang Chen asked. "Of course. As long as wood passes through here, a permit is required," the other party said. "We are coming from Hangzhou, so where should we get this certificate?" "Hangcheng Forestry Bureau." "What, you mean we have to go back to Hangzhou to apply for this certificate?" Zhang Chen shouted. "Of course, what are you yelling about? Without a certificate, you can't pass." Zhang Chen was anxious, "But we are in a hurry. If I go back to Hangzhou now, there will be no one left in the Forestry Bureau." "You are in a hurry, we are also in a hurry, turn around, do you see, There are so many cars behind us. But ours really can't be considered, Wu Zhangchen said anxiously. It's not you who has the final say on whether it counts, it's me who has the final say. Someone behind him pulled Zhangchen, who was the driver of another car. He said to Zhangchen, it's useless for you to tell him this. We don't dare to run this stretch of road at night. As soon as it gets dark, these people come out. Alas, I was also unlucky, the car in front broke down, otherwise everyone would have escaped. What did you say? The other party yelled, and the driver quickly got out of the way. Zhang Chen had no choice but to say good things to the other party. Zhang Chen said, we are really in a hurry, and we don't know what kind of certificate we need to get this luck. Let's see if we can help and be accommodating. As Zhang Chen spoke, he took out a cigarette from his pocket and handed it over. The other party blocked it with his hand and declined. He said to Zhang Chen, you're in a hurry, but you don't have a pass, right? There's another way, pay the fine, and you can leave after paying the fine. Okay, Zhang Chen said quickly, how much do you have to pay? 8,000 for one car, 16,000 for two cars. 16,000, Zhang Chen felt that his anger suddenly came up. Isn't this obvious blackmail? Zhang Chen shouted loudly, you, 16,000. Not a penny. I have 2 cents, you don't even have 16,000 yuan to buy the wood for your car, so you are just car gangsters and road tyrants. Several inspectors immediately gathered around. At this moment, a flash suddenly flashed nearby. Those people were stunned for a moment. Zheng Huiyang took the camera that Zhang Chen was going to take pictures in Shanghai, and then flashed the flash twice more. Lu Ligan came over, holding a press card in his hand, waving it towards those people and said, we are reporters. We have received a mission to secretly investigate those who charge illegal highway tolls. We have seen what just happened. Which one of you is the one, principal? Several people retreated, leaving the leader standing in front. Lu Ligan asked him, you are responsible, right? Please show us your inspection certificate and answer a few of our questions. The man quickly said no, I am not responsible. As he said this, he turned around and left. Lu Lepol held him back, don't leave. We have called 110. If you don't want to be interviewed here, you can go to the police station for an interview. When the man heard this, he threw Lu Ligan away and left in a hurry. Lu Ligan went to ask the remaining people what unit you were in and tell me the phone number of your leader, and those people left in a hurry. Lu Lipol came back, walked to Lao Wan, and cursed softly, idiot, go and raise the pole quickly. Lao Wan came to his senses, ran over, raised the pole, and a large number of blocked trucks drove past the checkpoint one after another. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 698. Zhang Chen and the others drove to the front, and after meeting up with Zhao Zhigang and the others, they were worried that they would enter the Shanghai boundary and there would be inspections of one kind or another along the way. They reorganized the convoy, with Wu Ziyawai driving at the front, Wang Haniao second, and 3 trucks. Following Wang Haniao, Zhang Chen and the others were last, so that if something happened, they could pass ahead at any time. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang to sit in Wu Kaiwai's first car. Zhao Zhigang held up the walkie-talkie and said to Lu Ligan, now I am number 1 and you are number 3. Lu Ligan stared at him and could only acquiesce. When He Hongmei heard that they were going to follow the big truck, she refused to drive and asked Lu Ligan to drive. As soon as Lu Ligan raised the walkie-talkie, He Hongmei cursed, you are already number 3, why are you still directing the battle? People in the car laughed, but it turned out that Lu Ligan drove the car. Zhang Chen took the walkie-talkie and sat in the passenger seat. He Hongmei went to the back seat and sat with Ji Yiling and Zheng Huiyang. The motorcade started, and Zhao Zhigang's excited voice kept coming from the intercom along the way, this is number 1, This is number 1, number 2, and number 3. If you hear me, please answer. Press, press, press the intercom, Lu Ligan shouted loudly. What? Zhang Chen asked curiously. Quickly press it and bring it over, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen pressed the intercom button and brought the intercom closer to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan shouted, Number 1, are you farting? It stinks so much along the way. The people in the car laughed. They were delayed for a while in Jiashan. It was almost 10 o'clock when they arrived at Xinzhuang. Zhang Chen was still worried on the way. Wu Ziyawai said that they would queue up for car washing. If they were delayed for another hour when entering the city, and then drove to Nanjing Road, it might be midnight. But they were getting closer and closer to the toll station entering the city, and the car wash station never appeared. Zhang Chen called through the intercom, Wu Ziyawai, where is the car wash place you mentioned? Wu Ziyawai was also surprised. He felt that he had passed that place a long time ago, but it seemed that he had not passed it yet. When he arrived at the toll station entering the city, Wu Ziyawai couldn't help but ask the toll collector, was the car wash place still in front? What kind of car wash? The other party was surprised. When I came to Shanghai before, didn't I have to be stopped and had to have my car washed before I could enter the city? The other party asked, in what year did you come? Are you in the 1990s now? That was all in the 1980s. When Wu Ziyawai asked, Zhao Zhigang pressed the button on the intercom. Zhang Chen and the others laughed when they heard the toll collector's words. When the car arrived at Sujiawai, looking at the lights in the tall buildings outside, Zhang Chen couldn't help but think of the first time he came to Shanghai. At that time, the car from Yongcheng to Shanghai took a day, and he and the people from the Yongcheng County Library, it was the first time for Xiao Guan to come to Shanghai. It was winter at that time, and it was already dark outside at around 7 o'clock. It was here that they saw for the first time that there were such tall buildings in Shanghai. Zhang Chen clearly remembered that for him, a child who came out of a ravine, the first face of Shanghai shown to him was, he was shocked. Looking at the lights in the high-rise buildings outside, he couldn't help but think, how great it would be if he could become a member of the city and live in such a high-rise building. He even felt that the plane trees and orange street lamps on the road outside, including the iron fence walls on both sides of the road, were very attractive, and he wanted to take a walk on such a road. The little supervisor beside him, who had been chattering all the way, fell silent at this time. Zhang Chen knew that she must have the same idea as him. For people like them from small places, every face in the big city would be a source of surprise. They are stunning. He caught a glimpse of Xiao Guan's dull eyes looking out of the car window in the darkness, shining dimly, and he could even hear her swallowing. Zhang Chen's first trip to Shanghai was to the No. 1 department store at the junction of Nanjing East Road and Tibet Middle Road. Shanghai No. 1 department store is almost synonymous with Nanjing Road. All photos of Nanjing Road seem to be centered on it. This is also the reason why Zhang Chen immediately felt like an electric shock when he heard Ji Donghai talk about Shanghai 100. They went to Shanghai that time because the Yongcheng County Library received a letter from Shanghai No. 1 department store, saying that the Pujiang brand hand crank printing machine they ordered had arrived, and notifying them to come to Shanghai 100 to pick up the goods. At that time, speed printing machines were in short supply. After receiving this letter, the Yongcheng County Library felt like it was a treasure. The director decided to send the librarian Xiao Guan to Shanghai to pick up the goods. However, the librarian was a girl and it was difficult for her to go out so far alone. I was worried, but there was no other man in the library except the director himself. It happened that Zhang Chen was helping them draw Lucen and Einstein in those days. The director asked Zhang Chen if he could accompany Xiao Guan on a trip to Shanghai. The travel and accommodation expenses would be borne by their library. Zhang Chen had never been to Shanghai. Of course I agreed. They took the letter to pick up the goods and a letter of introduction from the curator to the Yongcheng County Agricultural Committee. The letter of introduction was addressed to the Shanghai Agricultural Committee guest house. Accommodation in Shanghai was very tight at that time, and the Shanghai Agricultural Committee, the Committee of Agriculture, sends people from the unit to Qiandao Lake every year. When their people arrive in Yongcheng, they all live in the guest house of the Yongcheng County Agricultural Committee. Therefore, the Agricultural Committee guest houses in the two places have become sister units. As long as you have a letter of introduction issued by the Yongcheng County Agricultural Committee, the Shanghai Agricultural Committee guest house will give priority. People with connections in Yongcheng County would basically go to the Agricultural Committee to get a letter of introduction when they came to Shanghai. They stayed in the hostel of the Shanghai Agricultural Committee. The old curator also got them a letter of introduction with his old face. That night, they stayed at the guest house of the Committee of Agriculture. The guest house of the Committee of Agriculture was in a 3-story old house with red-painted wooden boards on the floor. Although the room Zhang Chen lived in was a 3-person room, it was very tidy. To Zhang Chen's surprise, he saw a bed covered with a bedspread for the first time here, and slept on Simmons, whom he had only seen in books, for the first time. That feeling was really the same as when Chen Huansheng sat on the sofa for the first time in Gao Xiaosheng's Chen Huansheng Goes to the City. Zhang Chen sat on the bed, and the bed suddenly sank. Zhang Chen was startled and stood up quickly. I thought I had broken the bed by sitting on it. When I stood up and took a look, the bed returned to its original shape. Looking at the bed next door, he saw that the bed sank when they sat down, so Zhang Chen sat on it again. Sleeping on such a soft bed, he didn't sleep well this night. When he woke up the next day, his back was sore. Zhang Chen secretly laughed at himself. After all, he came from a ravine. It seemed that he could only sleep on a hard bed. They checked out early and took the bus to People's Park and got off. Standing there, they were stunned by the International Hotel opposite. The two of them raised their heads and counted for a long time, but they couldn't count how many international hotels there were. Later. Especially at the door of the hotel, there are still doormen wearing purple uniforms and white gloves, just like in foreign movies. They walk back and forth in front of the door, looking in, and they don't dare to go in at all. When they walked to the door of the first department store, it was almost 9 o'clock. They thought they were late, but they didn't expect that the door was crowded with people waiting for the door to open. Only then did they know that the opening time here is different from that of the department store in Yongcheng. It's also different, it's not 8:30 in the morning, but 9:30. They waited until the door opened and went to the corporate business service department on the first floor of the store mentioned in the letter. This department specializes in ordering goods and services for units in Shanghai and all over the country. There are more than a dozen people in an office area of 30 to 40 square meters. In the office, there was an open window several meters long, and they handed the letter to a little girl at the window. The little girl looked at their letter and called inside. A middle-aged man with a clean face stood up and came over. He took the letter and looked at it. He asked Zhang Chen and the others to wait a moment, and then he walked back to himself. I opened a bill of lading at my desk and told them that you should go to the stationery counter on the 5th floor to pick up the goods. They climbed the stairs to the 5th floor. Outside the window of the stairs was Nanjing Road. From here, they could see the bustling flow of people below. There were many people going up and down the stairs. The air was very dirty. Even in winter, it was very hot here. But every window, all sealed with iron bars. Xiao Guan told Zhang Chen that she had read in the Xinmin Evening News that the windows of the number 1 department store were sealed because suicidal people like to jump from here. Why do they have to choose a special place when they are all going to die? The steward asked Zhang Chen, but Zhang Chen couldn't answer at the time. Now he knows that this is their last sense of ritual, and the sense of ritual can increase their courage. When they arrived at the stationery counter on the 5th floor, the person inside looked at the delivery list and told them that it was out of stock and had been sold out. Xiao Guan and Zhang Chen were both anxious. Zhang Chen showed the letter to the other party and asked them, "You wrote the letter asking us to pick up the goods. Why are you out of stock when we arrive?" The other party rolled his eyes at him and said, "It's not like the letter asked you to come today. If you came yesterday, the goods would be available, and if you came in a few days, the goods might be available. Why did you come today?" The supervisor was also anxious and cursed, "Aren't you being unreasonable?" The other party was also annoyed and shouted, "Chun Na, why am I being unreasonable? Come on, this letter is not written to you by us. You can go to whoever wrote it to you. We just have out of stock here." Zhang Chen and Xiao Guan stood there, but they ignored them and looked at them with disdain. They even told their colleagues that they were from Xiangguoning. The two had no choice but to go downstairs. They arrived at the first floor of the basement and found when the middle-aged man heard this, he said, "How could it be possible? This was what the customer ordered, how could they sell it?" He picked up the phone and called upstairs. The person upstairs told him that it was indeed sold, and he didn't know who sold it. "Just let them come in a few days." "Sina, I'm from a tiled land." The middle-aged man also became angry. "But the goods have been sold, and the middle-aged man has nothing to do. He can only tell them apologetically that the salesperson upstairs did not understand the speed printing machine and sold it. What do you think? Either you go back first, and when the goods arrive in a few days, I will definitely keep them for you." When the supervisor heard this, he stood there and burst into tears. There were no business trips in the library. This time the business trip was to Shanghai. The leader assigned him such a good job. He was worried and sent someone accompany them, but when they arrive, their things are gone, and I have to go back empty-handed. What should I do? How can I have any dignity? The young man cried and said, "I won't go back. I don't have the face to go back. I would rather die in Shanghai than go back. If the window on your stairs is not sealed, I will jump from there." The middle-aged man panicked when he heard this, and quickly advised him, don't be anxious, I'll think of a solution." Zhang Chen saw that his already pale face turned even paler. He walked to the phone and kept calling, begging for something in a sincere tone. It was such a cold winter that sweat broke out on his forehead, but with every call, all disappointing. After making more than a dozen calls, he finally showed a happy face, hurried over and told them excitedly, I found it for you. I will help you find another one in Dubai. I have asked them to keep it. I will help you right away to open a transfer order. Would you like to go over and pick up the goods?" Xiao Guan burst into tears and smiled, nodding his head again and again. The middle-aged man issued a transfer order and also drew a map in detail on a piece of paper, teaching them how to take the bus from here to Changde Road, how many buses to take, and where to transfer. Even the price of the bus ticket is written on the back. Zhang Chen and Xiao Guan took the transfer order to the 9th department store on Changde Road and picked up the speed printing machine. After getting it, their first thought was to rush to Yongcheng instead of having fun in Shanghai. They didn't even go to the Bund or Nanjing road that they had planned on the way here, including Zhangchen. I didn't go to any of the planned Shanghai Art Museum on Nanjing East Road. They were holding this hard-won speed printing machine, feeling as if it would disappear if they stayed in Shanghai for a while. The speed printing machine was very heavy, weighing 40 or 50 kilograms, and was very large. The outside was packed in a pine board box. The buses in Shanghai were very crowded at that time, and they couldn't get on the bus with such a heavy and big thing. The two decided to walk from Changde Road to Shanghai Railway Station. They went to Shanghai Railway Station not to catch a train, but to take a bus at the long-distance bus station next to the railway station. So, Zhang Chen carried such a big box, Xiao Guan carried his and Zhang Chen's bags, and held a map in his hand, and the two of them walked awkwardly on the streets of Shanghai. Although the cold wind was biting, Zhang Chen's whole body was soaked after carrying the machine for a while, and he felt like he was about to collapse. The box made of pine boards seemed to have worn out the skin on his shoulders, causing him to feel excruciating pain. Xiaoguan took out his handkerchief and kept wiping Jiang Chen's sweat, and then pushed him against the side with his body. Using her hands from behind to help pinch his waist, wanting to share some of the burden for him. She really hated that she was a woman and couldn't take turns with Jiang Chen. They walked and rested, but did not dare to rest for a long time, because they did not know what time there would be a car. If there was no car, they would not even have a place to live today. The two of them walked for almost 2 hours before reaching the long-distance bus station, and finally arrived at their destination. They slumped down on a bench at the station, feeling like they were about to faint. Xiaoguan couldn't help hugging Jiang Chen and burst into tears. At that moment, Jiang Chen didn't know if he also shed tears. The bus from Shanghai to Yongcheng only leaves every 2 days, and it's still around 6 in the morning. They can only buy tickets to Hangcheng at 2:30 in the afternoon. Anyway, as long as they can leave Shanghai, as long as they can leave Yongcheng just closer. Jiang Chen didn't know if the kind-hearted middle-aged man was still in that office, or if Xiaoguan was doing well now. Not long after she returned to Yongcheng, she went to Shenzhen. Jiang Chen looked at the big world passing by outside the window and took a deep breath. In front of him was Shanghai 100. Jiang Chen heard a voice saying to himself, "I am back again. Thank you for your monthly pass from Danghuanzhuo and Amli Yuliu. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 699. After 10 o'clock, Shanghai's buses have basically stopped running. There are few vehicles on the wide road and the road is smooth. They arrived downstairs at the first department store at 10:30. Xiaoli and 3 salesmen were waiting for them at the door, directing them to unload the goods at the back door near Tibet Middle Road. There is a freight elevator there to transport the goods upstairs. Jiang Chen got out of the car. To his surprise, Manager Chen from the women's clothing department of the first department store and another of her colleagues were also here. They came over when they saw Jiang Chen. Manager Chen knew that Jiang Chen would come tonight, so he specially waited for him here. Jiang Chen considered that there were many people in the women's clothing department of the first department store, so when delivering the Westlake 10 treasures, he asked Xiaoli to send 50 boxes. In this way, one person in their department sent 2 boxes and still had more. Manager Chen specially waited here. Jiang Chen just wanted to thank him for the benefits he provided to their department, which made her, the manager, feel that she always had dignity. Jiang Chen quickly smiled and said, "Isn't this a festival? A small gift is all right. Why should Manager Chen be so polite?" Manager Chen said that this gift was a good one and everyone below liked it. She introduced her colleague to Jiang Chen and said that this was Manager Lang from the food department of their store. She ate this Westlake 10 treasures. "I also think it's very good, I like it very much, the packaging box is beautiful and the contents inside are also exquisite. Mr. Jiang, I heard from Xiaoli that you know this factory, can you introduce it to Mr. Lang and others who want to introduce this product?" Jiang Chen smiled and said, "What a coincidence. Not only do I know this factory, but the person in charge of this matter is also here today." Jiang Chen quickly called Lu Ligan over and told him what had happened. Lu Ligan was overjoyed and quickly shook hands with the 2 managers. The 4 of them stood on the sidewalk on the road in central Tibet and chatted. Manager Lang and Lu Ligan said, "It would be even better if your product could be made into a series. In that case, our mall can open a special counter to sell your products." Shanghai No. 1 department store opens a special counter, what kind of treatment is it? An hour ago, Lu Ligan wouldn't have dared to think about this, but now, it was actually the other party who brought it up. Lu Ligan was overjoyed. He immediately caught on to Manager Lang's words and continued to ask, "Manager Lang, what kind of series do you want?" Manager Lang told him that many people come here every day to ask if there are any sugar-free and low-sugar foods. We are selling things, not making them, so where can we get them? If you could make sugar-free and low-sugar products, a lot of people would buy them. Sugar-free? Doesn't that mean it's not sweet at all? Is there anyone who wants to eat pastries that are not sweet? Lu Ligan thought it was unheard of. Yes, Manager Lang told him that the people who came to ask all had diabetes themselves or in their family members. They couldn't eat sweets and couldn't find them. They were always anxious. Do you know how many people there are in Shanghai? Diabetic. More than 1.3 million. Lu Ligan's eyes lit up. It turned out that this was what happened. He immediately felt that this was a business opportunity. If there would be so many diabetic patients in Shanghai and such demand, then the same would definitely be the case in Hangzhou. Other cities across the country, the city must be the same. If Manager Lang hadn't reminded me, who would have paid attention to this? Lu Ligan quickly told Manager Lang, "Okay, I will arrange the development immediately when I get back. Once developed, I will send it over and ask Manager Lang for criticism and advice." The four of them stood there and chatted until about 11 o'clock. Zhang Chen remembered and asked Manager Chen, "How do you get home?" Manager Chen pointed to the bicycle parked not far away and told him that of course he would ride back. Zhang Chen quickly called Wu Zaiyi over and asked him to carry the two managers' bicycles onto Ivko and take them home. After seeing off the two managers, Lu Ligan said to Zhang Chen excitedly, "It seems that this Ming food factory is not destined to die. We have met a noble person." Zhang Chen joked, "Meet you? When I met Manager Lang, her idea was really worth a fortune." "I don't think this Ming food factory will be prosperous," Lu Ligan said. While they were chatting, Lao Wan and Zhao Zhigang had already moved props, costumes, and everything needed for this mall upstairs. They wanted to leave two people here to install it while the others went to the next mall. Zhang Chen told them, "There is no need to leave anyone behind, just me and the Poles will install it here, and you all go to the next house. If there are more people, it will move faster." Lao Wan agreed and gave them two sets of tools, and the team continued to leave. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and He Hongmei followed Xiao Li upstairs. The women's clothing department was on the third floor. When they arrived, they started working immediately. They were busy all night in Shanghai and returned to Hangzhou the next day. It was already past 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone was exhausted. When they returned to the dormitory, they took a shower and had to catch up on their sleep. Only Lu Ligan rode bicycle, rushed to Yiming Food Factory. Lu Li went to Shanghai and met the manager of Shanghai No. 1 department store. He told Fan Kishan and the secretary. Both of them were very happy. "You must know that no matter in terms of unit business area, business variety, or sales scale, Shanghai No. 1 department store, a department store, has always ranked first in the national department store retail industry and is truly the No. 1 store in China. There were so many manufacturers who tried desperately to squeeze in, but they had no chance. Even when Yiming Food Factory was at its most prosperous, they were not able to get in. Unexpectedly, Lu Ligan got it without any effort. Lu Ligan told them about Manager Lang's suggestion to develop sugar-free and low-sugar foods. They also felt that this was a business opportunity and immediately decided to allocate some people from the factory to develop and produce this sugar-free and low-sugar food. Lu Ligan asked Fan Jiangguo to go to the workshop and ask how many workers had family members with diabetes. After Fan Jiangguo went there, he came back and told them that there were 9. The three of them were shocked. Their factory with more than 100 people did not expect to have so many family members of diabetics. It seemed that there were quite a lot of diabetics. This is really a market that has been forgotten. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo said, "Go and tell these people that when their family members go to see a doctor again, notify us and we will go together." "What do you want to do?" Fan Jiangguo asked. "Go see a doctor," Lu Ligan said. "I want to hire a consultant from these doctors to guide our production," Lu Ligan, Fan Qishun, and the secretary said. They both nodded and thought his idea was good. Next, they concentrated their efforts and quickly developed and produced low-sugar and sugar-free Westlake 10 treasures. They were sent to Shanghai together with the normal Westlake 10 treasures. They became an instant success in Shanghai No. 1 department store, selling more than 4,000 boxes in one day. Having tasted the sweetness, they immediately spread the low-sugar and sugar-free 10 treasures of Westlake in all stores in Hangzhou, and they were equally popular. Hangchen Yiming Food Factory has become the first enterprise in the country to produce and develop low-sugar and sugar-free foods. These are things for later. When people woke up, it was September 30th. On this day, for Zhang Chen and others, the biggest thing was the basketball game in the evening. Not only did the factory on Stadium Road not work overtime at night, even the Sanbeo factory did not work overtime at night. There is no overtime work arrangement, and many of them have to go to the Stadium Road to cheer for their company's team. Just after 7 o'clock, it was not completely dark yet. Zhang Chen was startled. He looked out the window of the office on the third floor and saw a crowd of people below. He saw that not only the stands were filled up early, but also the rest of the stadium. There were also people standing on three sides. People kept coming in from outside the gate, and some people climbed onto the trees in the small garden next to it. Zhang Chen quickly called Zhao Hailong and Zhao Zhigang and asked them to go down and take a look. "Evacuate the people in our own factory, whether they are here or in Sanbeo, to the second and third floors of this factory. Open the windows and take a look. All given to people from outside." Zhao Hailong and Zhao Zhigang went down and evacuated their people into the factory, but the space they vacated was quickly filled by new people. Zhang Chen estimated that there should be thousands of people coming to see this today. Game. Zhang Chen saw that there were policemen below to maintain order, and he knew in his heart that this should be called by the Sports Commission and the Federation of Trade Unions, or that they had experience. With so many people crowded here, if there were no policemen, they would just rely on those from their maintenance team. People can't hold back the formation at all. You just have to take care of it. Who cares about you? Lu Ligan and He Hongmei also arrived upstairs. Xiao Zhao, who was holding Zhang Xiangbei, Kaidi, and Xiao Wan, who had been upstairs in Xiao Zhao's office, also came over. Lu Ligan saw below in the crowd, there were two people with cameras hanging on their chests. "I knew they should be reporters." Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, "I'll go down for a while." "Zhang Chen wants to ask you, what are you doing down here?" Lu Ligan had already disappeared. The sky was getting dark, the lights on the court were bright, and the players from both sides were occupying one side of the court for activities. They did not expect that there would be so many people tonight, and both sides were a little nervous. They were better with 2 points. Although it had been many years since so many people watched their game, after all, they had experienced such a scene. After being flustered for a while, they immediately calmed down. In contrast, the young men from Zhonghui were obviously a little panicked. Although they were usually very arrogant, this was the first time they faced so many people and such a scene. They kept telling themselves that it was okay, but as soon as I took the ball in my hand and went out, the sight was gone. I also felt that I didn't know what was going on, and my technique was deformed. The more this happened, the more panicked I felt. This technical deformation seemed to be contagious. Soon, the basketballs were flying toward the basket, but no one went in. Some people started to boo on the side, especially those who usually they have always been suppressed by Zhonghui. They came today to see Zhonghui's jokes. For today's game, Zhonghui also specially found a retired guard from the provincial men's basketball team to be their coach. Standing on the sidelines, he immediately discovered the problem and knew that if this continued, he would be finished and would definitely lose. Although excessive physical exertion was taboo at this time, he still called everyone to the sidelines and told them, "Run, run, let yourself sweat. If you understand, run for me, run as hard as you can, let yourself sweat." The only way to deal with technical deformation and psychological pressure now is to get yourself excited. Even if you are tired, it is better than being afraid. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 700. At 8 o'clock, Accountant Lee stood in the center circle in a brand new referee uniform, ready to blow the whistle to start the first half of the game. An hour earlier, when Zhonghui's players found out that today's referee was from the opposing company, they protested, saying that there was no way to play such a game. "We were on the field, it was like 5 people beating 6 people, and we would only lose if we didn't lose. There is a ghost." The comrades of the Federation of Trade Unions told them, "No, no, no, Lao Li has already expressed his position, and he will definitely make the punishment objective and fair, so you can rest assured. Let's talk about who can't speak, and it's useless if they can speak. No, no, this referee must be changed." The comrades of the Federation of Trade Unions are in a dilemma. The game is about to begin. Where do you want us to find another referee? Those people looked at the people from the sports committee and shouted, "Your sports committee has no referees yet." The people from the sports committee said that if we want to call him Lao Li, he is the best basketball referee in our district. The boys were still reluctant. Their coach came over and asked what was going on. The boys told him. He also felt something was wrong. When he turned around, he saw Accountant Lee flexing his body in a corner of the court. He asked, "Is this him you are talking about?" People from the sports committee and the Federation of Trade Unions all nodded. The coach scolded his players and just do whatever they have to do. In Hangzhou, there is no more fair referee than the little mouse. Don't worry. It turned out that he knew Accountant Lee. With Accountant Lee's whistle, the first half of the game began. The Banmuishan basketball team quickly took the upper hand, especially the 2 points. No matter where they were under the basket, after receiving the ball, they would take off, shoot, etc. He yelled 2 points, the ball hit the ground and the court was filled with cheers, especially in their factory. The cheers almost shook the whole building to its knees. On the contrary, Zhonghui repeatedly missed the shot. The ball either hit the board or bounced out after hitting the basket. Some even missed the ball and went directly under the backboard and out of the end line, ushering in a scene outside the court. Boos. Originally, there were more cheerleaders than Zhonghui in the half-acre field next to the stadium. Zhonghui's cheerleaders were concentrated in the stands. They had come from Children's Lane early to grab seats. At first, they cheered Zhonghui enthusiastically. Now cheers. The sound also became sparse. Every time 2 points catches the ball and takes off, before she even shouts, the people around her shout 2 points, when everyone's voices fall down, 2 points voice rings out loudly, 2 points, and the ball goes into the basket. Accountant Lee's whistle sounded, and he waved 2 fingers downward vigorously, which was effective for 2 points. The game lasted for more than 6 minutes, and Banmuishan scored 14 points, but the score was still 0. The eyes of those young men were all red. If they continued, they would collapse. Their coach immediately called a timeout. "Don't worry about the score, you know. Don't think about the score now. Next, switch to zone defense. Man to man. If you don't score, don't let the opponent score easily. Do you understand? Everyone, work hard. The game has just begun. Remember, play zone defense." The coach saw that the opponent's skills were better than his own. If his players continued, they would be unable to run on the court. Each 2 points would be a slap in their face. A slap in the face will knock them unconscious. If the score continues to expand, the game may be over before the 30 minutes of the first half are over. Although the opponent has good skills, they are a group of ladies in their 40s after all, and their physical strength cannot keep up. The only way now is to find a way to hold them back and not let them score easily. Sometimes, people don't feel tired, but as long as they feel the pressure, mistakes will increase, and when the hit rate drops, people will start to get tired. Sure enough, after Zhang Hui switched to zone defense, Ban Muxin's frequent scoring trend was slowed down. With the coach's constant shouting on the sidelines, Zhang Hui's chaotic formation gradually began to stabilize. Zhang Hui number 7 received a pass in the penalty area and took off to shoot. The ball hit the backboard and bounced off. Their number 2 grabbed the rebound and shot again. The ball circled around the basket twice and then entered the net. Accountant Li's whistle sounded, Zhang Hui got their first 2 points, and the audience in the children's lane in the stands cheered. The coach called the tallest player on his team, number 9, who was 1.89 meters tall, from the bench, and told him, "When you go on the field, keep an eye on no 5. "What 2 points?" asked number 9. "Yes, those 2 points, you go wherever she goes, keep an eye on her, don't be afraid of 5 fouls, if you get sent off for 5 fouls today, you will have made a meritorious service, do you understand?" "Understood." Number 9 nodded. Number 7 is down, number 9 is up. After number 9 came on the field, he carried out the coach's intention and clung to Liangfen. Wherever Liangfen went, he followed him. The other guy was a head taller than Liangfen, with his hands stretched out, like a wall. When he stopped in front of her, he didn't care where the ball was, only where the 2 points were. His movements were a bit rough, and he committed 2 fouls not long after he came on the court. This style of play gave Liangfen a headache. She could only keep running on the court, stretching the opponent's defense and creating scoring opportunities for her teammates. However, her partner's shooting rate was not as good as Liangfen. After the score was suppressed, the opponent's score caught up, reaching 18-24. Ge Donghai understood the opponent's intention, so he simply replaced the 2 points and let her rest for a while. The opponent's coach immediately replaced the number 9 and told him, yes, you can play like this very good. "I haven't even touched the ball in the last game," number 9 said sheepishly. "Why do you want to touch the ball? I would rather you touch Liangfen's head and her hand than touch the ball. Do you understand? Take the time to rest." When Ge Donghai replaced the 2 points, the opponent immediately replaced the number 9. After he came up, he still stared at the 2 points and even moved his hands and feet. The 2 points were so angry that he wanted to kick him. At the end of the first half, Ban Muxin led the opponent by 5 points, 37-32. Taking advantage of the intermission, when the noise on the field subsided, Lu Ligan asked the person next to him, "Are you from Qianwan or Hangbao?" The other party looked at him and said it was for Hangzhou. "I'm from Hainan Daily," Lu Ligan said. "Hainan Daily? What are you doing here? Do you have a mission?" "No." Lu Ligan shook his head, "Play here, the boss here is my friend." "You mean the boss of Half Acre Field?" Lu Lepole nodded. "I heard that this guy is pretty cool, and he doesn't like to be interviewed," the other person said. "Yes, he is a bit shy. He is also from Hainan." The other person nodded, "No wonder you are friends. By the way, buddy, can you help me make an appointment with him for an exclusive interview?" the other party asked. This Lu Ligan hesitated for a moment. "I don't know if he is willing to do an exclusive interview. However, if you are interested, I can ask him to treat us to drinks when we finish here." "Really? That's great." The other party stretched out his hand towards Lu Ligan, "Su Wenhui." Lu Lizang shook hands with him, "Lu Lizan." At the beginning of the second half, number 9 continued to stare at 2 points. By 10 minutes, he had already been sent off for 5 fouls. The coach called another tall number 3 and told him, "Did you see that? You are just like him. Fight, there are still 10 minutes left, and you can fight for 5 fouls and be sent off for me." The guy said, "Okay, it's up to me." After number 3 came on the court, he continued to pester Liang Fen, and his actions were even more rude than that of number 9. Once he made a foul, he almost hugged Liang Fen. He was severely warned by Accountant Li, and there were boos all around. The 2 points were exhausted by the man-to-man defense of these two guys. At the same time, the other players in the team were getting older after all. In the second half, they gradually lost their physical strength. Ge Donghai had to frequently mobilize his troops. Unfortunately, Ban Muishan's bench is not deep enough, and the difference between the substitutes and the main players is too big. Zhang Hui gradually caught up with the score. With more than 4 minutes left at the end of the game, they had already overtaken the score and led 65-62. The spectators outside the stadium all saw where the problem was. They saw that despite the 2 points on the field, they were still running with all their strength, but after all, their age, gender and physical strength of their opponents were there. It almost became a massacre of physical strength and age. The cheering sounds outside the field gradually faded away, and everyone was worried. Many people even began to hope that the game would end soon. 2 points received a ball outside the penalty area. Number 3 came up from behind and hit the ball. 2 points staggered, but still controlled the ball. She turned around and cut in, and made a layup in 3 strides. Outside the court 2 points sounded as the ball entered the basket. Accountant Li's whistle sounded immediately. He turned his hands twice in front of his chest and then flattened them, indicating that the goal would be invalid if the goal was a 2-point walk. There were curses outside the stadium. The game continued. 2 points received the ball, turned around, the opponent's number 3 was in front of him, jumped up to block it, 2 points waited a moment, and after he fell, 2 points took off, took the shot, and shouted 2 points, the ball hit the ground and went into the basket, and there were cheers outside the stadium. Accountant Li's whistle sounded. He raised 3 fingers, gestured towards the 2 points, and sentenced her to a 3-second violation. Then he signaled that the 2 points would not count. The scorer outside the court turned over the 2 points that had already been passed. Return. Zhang Hui's players and the children's lane audience in the stands cheered. Ge Donghai was furious and rushed into the scene and pushed Accountant Li from the window upstairs. Wu Zayawai cursed fiercely, "I'm going to F-King bring up this traitor." Many players from Ban Mutian also rushed onto the field. Accountant Li saw that the situation was not good, promptly blew the whistle to end the game, turned around and ran towards the rostrum. The score was fixed at 65-62, and Zhang Hui won. After Zhang Chen and Liang Fen's persuasion, the players from Ban Muishan stood in a row with the players from Zhang Hui on the court. The comrades of the sports committee announced that Zhang Hui had won the game. Old Tang came on the stage and awarded a bonus of 1,000 yuan. After the Zhang Hui players received their awards, under the leadership of their coach, they walked up to Liang Fen and the others, bent down, and bowed deeply. There was a round of applause outside the stadium. Old Tang whispered a few words into the ears of the comrades from the Federation of Trade Unions. The comrades from the Federation of Trade Unions and the comrades from the Sports Committee said a few words. The comrades from the Sports Committee took the microphone and shouted loudly. On behalf of the organizers, I announce that the Ban Muishan women's basketball team has won the Women's Style Award, and Mr. Tang will award a 1,000 yuan bonus. Thank you for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Have a good evening everyone.